Welcome to Xbox Newscast. I am the host, Colteastwood. This is the XNC Podcast, and tonight, it is probably the hottest show I've ever done. I'm in Washington State, close to the Xbox headquarters, but not quite in the front door, but close enough and super hot. We are going through an incredible heat wave. It is 109 degrees where I live, and let me start before I get to our guests. My AC broke in the house, and it is 90 degrees inside my home. The AC is just now repaired, and a massive bill. Swipe the card with the repairman. It's going to be unreal. Very, very expensive, but cool air is starting to come in. But even cooler than the air coming through the vents are my two guests, true friends of mine from the Iron Lords podcast. I want to say hello to Lord Cognito and Gaming Addict. Cognito, how are you, buddy?
Yo, I'm in the realm of the XNC. Good to see the digs. I like what you did with the place. It's looking nice. You know what I mean? I mean, not as nice as when we got burgers and whiskey, but you know, it watched it. But it's a dude. What's up, Addict?
I bet you he's over there like feeling that cold air, being so relieved every second more time goes by.
That was he couldn't have swiped his credit card faster to get that AC done.
He's like, oh, okay, so you're gonna take this, but you're gonna get rid of this, right?
No, but brother, I'm glad. Thank you for the invite. Yeah, I see you had King on before and everything, and great show. Love what you're doing, man. Good to see your ascension. So it was an honor to get the invite in the realm of the XNC.
Thank you. Gaming Addict, how you been, buddy? Talking to you on Xbox all the time, but you're on the show. Well, let's have it.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the invite, man. We definitely be chopping it up on Xbox a lot. You know, we be playing these games, Colt. We play them a lot. Like we don't just talk about games. We play games, and I've always enjoyed that. When you talk, man, I know that. I remember one time we got arguing about who beat the most Bethesda games. We argued about that.
Funny.
Like
that was a funny
hours.
Party chat. That was a funny party chat. I remember that. That and the banjo argument. Those are the funniest.
No, we're not even bringing up banjo. There ain't no reason to bring up banjo.
I just like Coach discussing this. It's kind of funny. But continue.
Yeah, it is good, man. I mean, Attic and I have a good, healthy argument about banjo all the time, and it's one of us is going to be convinced. By the end, maybe it'll be me, right? Right, Attic?
I mean, when I'm right, I've already told you you're going to get the Super Saiyan Spirit Bomb, but so I'm just waiting to deliver that to you, man. I've already got all the energy. I already got the Spirit Bomb. Just need the announcement.
Yes. Hey, Wandering Dutch just trolled into the atmosphere. He says, "Good evening, Colt and Lord Cog, and Addict, stopping in to show the love. Up in 5 hours for work, but have a great show." Hey, do you guys get 5 hours of sleep pretty often, or is that just me?
No, it's the life, brother. You know what it is. Casting and everything that's going on.
I don't know what 8 hours of sleep is. Like,
bro, it's a grind. Yes. You know this thing is a grind, man. You know how it is.
So, I mean, we're not just working. You guys are playing games. So, Cog, let's start with you. What have you been playing lately? Like, tell people what's been keeping your hands busy on the controller.
Honestly, still doing my Rand's gonna be crap because I'm still doing my Mass Effect chili, but I'm like very slow. Like you and you guys are so far ahead. So like I'm now at 2, and I'm really Mass Effect getting my crew together and Elusive Man stuff. So I've been doing that slowly. It's been that Chivalry 2, man. It's just mindless fun. Yeah, it's Iron Lords the game and seize him and it's just so hilarious, and I think they actually have a lot of potential. The engine runs very well. It's cross-play. I just want them to really work on lobbies, kind of like how Battlefield has, so I can have multiple squads of 4 and also like a cross-play squad. That would be, really good for the game. So I've been doing that, and then obviously, Destiny here and there. Obviously, Iron Lords, because I got to play a little Destiny, so I've been trying to sneak that in. But that's been pretty much it for me as far as those 3 right now. Oh, Forza, nice. Forza Horizon 4. I dusted that off. Yeah, because 5 got me hyped. So I was like, all right, you know what? I missed out on 4. Gotta dive back in it. So 4 has been in it too.
That's nice. Hey, K Mega stops by and says supporting the podcast. K Mega's a friend of ours. We've all talked to him. We've met him in person. We talked to him on Xbox. He's a great guy. Attic, what have you been playing? What's been getting you all addicted to gaming?
So I beat Yakuza Like a Dragon. First thing I got to say is, like, if you have not played this game, you gotta try it. Like, and I understand turn-based isn't for everybody, but what I like about this is like if you play it, you'll laugh at least. Like, because it does crazy stuff, man. It kind of makes like a fantasy game in modern time, and somehow they do it. I don't know how. I couldn't tell you. I beat the game. I still don't know how they did it, but it's a good game.
Yeah, shout out to Yakuza, man. Great game. No excuse. Colt in Game Pass now.
Oh, I know. And I got our buddy xCloud Tim Dog talking about Yakuza like crazy. Like he got totally hooked on it.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Now I've been playing Outer Worlds, and I know that Cognito's been telling me you got back into it. I went and bought the other pack of DLC. I finished the Gorgon. I'll call it the Gorgon DLC.
Right.
Gorgon DLC, and then I'm into the murder mystery, Helen from Halcyon. So I'm just liking that a lot again. You know, that really gets me thinking about how incredible Obsidian is.
Oh.
I mean, I got to tell a quick story. We all know Obsidian's great. We're going to get into some of these studios later on the show. So stick around for that's going to be pretty good. My kids, I play Grounded with my son like once every week or so. We do like one session. He's in the other part of the house. We have our headsets on and we're in the backyard like lost. Well, I talked to my other kids into playing, and so one of my kids is in here in this room. One of my daughters is in the bedroom on an Xbox, and my son's in the family room, and they all have got headsets on. They've been having a blast. And I know we always like make fun of certain games. Grounded got like kind of made fun of when it came out, but watching my kids aged 10 to 17 screaming, laughing, yelling for like 2 or 3 hours straight. Oh man, that's really special. We're going to talk about these game studios. So I've been playing Outer Worlds, and I've been playing a little bit of the enhanced stuff. Like I've been playing Metro Exodus a little bit. So there's so much coming. Like Xbox is about to release. So welcome everybody in the chat. We've got over 500 people watching. If you're here, you're on YouTube. If you're listening after the fact, that's because I put the podcast, the XNC Podcast, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Podcasts, and a couple other places you may never heard of. But thank you so much for joining the show. Chat's alive. Everybody's excited. We've got topics because it's been a quiet week for gaming, but there's actually been a couple of crazy things that have happened. So let's talk about this first thing that's actually only a couple hours old. I'll start with you, Cognito. Jason Ronald just announced that xCloud is fully upgraded with Xbox Series X hardware. What does that mean for the people out there?
Super exciting, man. I mean, I would definitely a person that, we were honored to actually test a lot of this stuff out, 2 E3s ago. And that was when they were on, Xbox One S servers. And we were impressed back then. I remember going into the Microsoft Theater, shout out to Bill Stillwell at the time,
yes,
who was leading the legendary, the Great Wall himself. And we're doing it. And it's to a data center, maybe a couple hundred miles away. And I remember being impressed playing Halo and the latency. I'm just like, wow, this is imperceptible. And again, this is in those conditions, right? So now, with the Series X server blades, like that is going to be transformative. That is where people are going to really start to see the difference and actually have this as a viable option where the latency's down and it's kind of imperceptible. So this is exciting to me, man. I mean, for me, the thing I would say off the top is a person who uses xCloud a lot, especially like when I'm like at the doctor's office or, I look for an excuse to pull out my Razer Kishi anywhere. Like I'm just like, okay, I got to wait. How long's the wait? Okay, cool. I mean, I'm that guy, you know what I mean? So it actually replaced the Switch for me in a lot. Now, I will be honest, Cole, prior to the server blade upgrade, I was actually using the remote into my Series X.
In your console.
Right, because a lot of the games, I'm like, damn, I still want my 60 frames. I want that NVMe, and it was on the old thing. So now with this, it's phenomenal. Shout out to Jez Gordon. I think he's been testing a couple of things. A lot of my friends are saying they're seeing. Shout out to Clobrill. He actually seen in Rainbow Six Siege the 120 frames option is there. So this is exciting. You're going to really see, gaming being pushed on the cloud and having that, again, that functionality and that latency being reduced. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. We all got to try it like a couple years ago, like you talked about with Bill Stillwell. Lord Attic, have you been messing around with this, or do you just stay home in front of the biggest screen as possible?
I'm not really the biggest person when it comes to, any type of streaming or anything like that. Like, I'm not even really a handheld person. I will, dip around into the into the Switch when certain games come out for the Switch. Like, obviously, we know when it comes to, the direction Microsoft wants to go, xCloud's a big part of it. I have a feeling there was two things that they had left before they really capitalized. There was, changing the infrastructure from the old equipment to the new equipment, which they just did. And, it doesn't really matter if you could play something if you can't play it well. But now, you'll be able to get the 60 frames on a lot of stuff. You'll be able to get that quick load times. And I think that matters because that's going to give you the experience of these quick load screens when you're actually on the road. And a lot of people are going to like that. And then I think 5Gs is the next one when 5Gs is openly accessible. And I think they're going to use both of these as like as a pushing force. They're going to get in these markets they can't get into because they're heavily mobile faced. A lot of the Asian markets, and I think that people kind of like downplay that, but people don't understand how many potential customers is in that. Like they'll be able to get to like maybe 50 to 100 million pretty easily by themselves, but when they get that market open, that's when they double that subscription of Game Pass subscribers. That's when they go from like 50, 60 million to like 110 because there's a lot of people that you could access to. That's one of the reasons they're getting the Like a Dragons, the Dragon Quest, because they want to have that service and then they want to use those games to pull in those people from those service, from those regions.
That's true, Addict. Like you're talking about how everyone has kind of like one track mind of what they think is successful gaming. We're going to get into that later on as well. But like, as you're saying, they've got like this whole subset of people that like to game, but maybe a console or a PC is a blockade for them. It's not the step they want to take, but if they feel like they can just buy a controller or just play on a touchscreen tablet, they're in, right? Is that what you're saying?
The thing is like a lot of these regions, first off, consoles aren't really friendly in a lot of these regions because of lifestyles different. They don't have as big living arrangements that we do. Especially in Japan, everyone's living closer together because of the way that the area is built. So having a way of opening up mobile, it's like, look, you don't need a console. PlayStation does okay in Japan, but it's not doing anywhere as good as a Switch. So
right.
You give people the accessibility that the Switch has, but you give them like actually nothing against the Switch, but you give them games that. Imagine if you could play Fable on the Switch, or imagine if you could play Halo on the Switch. Like people don't realize the potential they have there because I think people are like me. I get made fun of the addict world. I don't care about streaming, but guess who does care about playing those games streaming? My brother and the generation below theirs, and those are the ones that this is really being built for. Yeah. It's not being built for me. I can't play on touchscreen screens. I have to have a controller. My brother can do it easy, and my nieces could do it easy, like it's nothing. Like,
different generation. I want to jump in too, Cole, because Addict's on fire. Another thing too, what excites me is that, forget about the browser aspect. One aspect that made Stadia have an advantage for a long time was the in-browser functionality. So now you have the Series X, and now you hopefully get these resolution, these frame rates up in browser. And then I'm also thinking about TVs. There's so many ways for market penetration they could utilize game streaming, and now with that updated fidelity, because prior, on the phone, you locked at 720, you locked at certain different requirements. So that's going to be big. And like, exactly, you know what I'm saying? Like some people, let's be honest, they don't want to do that, right? They don't want to do this. But there are going to be some people, hey, you get the new Samsung TV or you get it and it's an app, or, the game streaming, that Game Pass is an app on your phone. And now you can actually play. That's going to appeal to a certain market. So I think you made a good point too, Cole, in the sense of, as hardcore gamers, we have to think outside of our box, and we just be selfish. Like, oh, who's really going to do this? Like, no one's doing this. You know what I'm saying? But Addicts made a good point. Like that younger generation, people in different regions, right? That console gaming is really not going to be an option for them. And this could appease that. And it's up to Microsoft to really spread the message and the marketing so that people are aware that it exists.
I mean, imagine certain regions where, once this gets up and running and how it's supposed to, because I feel like the missing piece is 5G. 5G isn't up and running to the way that a lot of, especially Americans like, but it is doing pretty decent in other countries where, I want to play a couple games of Overwatch. So guess what? All you have to do is bring out your tablet, your phone, and play Overwatch. There's no, do I even them taking the Xbox out of the factor just helps them in regions that, you know, might not even necessarily Xbox is doing well in. But guess what they are doing well in? The mobile market is exploding. I don't think people realize that.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
What you know what people don't get it that haven't tried xCloud game streaming, or as they call it, Xbox Cloud Gaming. Well, we should just force them to call it xCloud.
I like xCloud.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about xCloud forever, but what people don't realize, like when Addict says they just want to load up a game of Overwatch, you know, we always think of mobile gaming like a Vita or a PSP where you have a different instance that you load up and power on your machine and play it on the go. But this thing, you load it up and it immediately goes syncing your profile and it grabs you right where you're at. Like your experience on Xbox is immediately transported to this mobile screen. And that is what will change that friction where people feel like, do I want to play on the go? Or, you know, do I want to have do I need to buy a whole other game, or is it a different type of Overwatch? Or no, it's the actual real thing. So I got a couple supers here because people want to talk to the lords. Like they feel like they're among celebrities. They want to have that chance, right? But first, Mr. Joanna Dark says, "Evening, gentlemen. Just happy to be here this evening listening to you awesome dudes. I am also playing Mass Effect, the GOAT of this series. Mass Effect 2, he says."
Woo!
And yes, I was just thinking about Lair of the Shadow Broker in the Omega DLC.
Oh, yeah.
The Omega DLC I missed last generation. So Hargut Johnny says, "Lord Cog and Addict in the house. Did you know? Did you know you can get hundreds of games for $10 a month with hashtag."
There they go.
Look, man, I'm for it, man.
Let me tag on to that. Wandering Dutch says, "Great show. You know what else is great? Game Pass gives you access to over 100 games for $9.99 a month, or $1 for 3 months of your new of your new smirk." I'm glossing over it so fast because we've all heard this.
Yes.
We'll get into that later on the show too, but that's a really funny moment. Psychonaut says, "Xbox Game Pass, just saying hello, y'all. Laugh out loud." And one more before we get to the next topic is Mark Howard says, "To the team, with PS5 having DualSense, what advantage does the Xbox controller would you want to see, or would you redesign to include a function?" Attic, let's take this question for you. What do you want to see added to the Xbox controller that you think it's lacking?
To be honest with you, the DualSense is a nice little feature, but I don't think it's so revolutionized that we need to just redesign the Xbox One controller. For the most part, there were incidences where I was like, "Yo, how do I turn this off?" Like it's I like the feel of the DualSense more than the feature of, you know, the triggers and stuff. I think the Xbox controller is fine. You know, if they wanted to add that into a future installment to be competitive, I'm all about competition. Do that. But as far as like going out of their way to redesign the controller just for this one feature, I don't think it's necessary.
Look at that! Look at that!
I got
Yeah,
the red
I mean,
one.
you like the feel. Like I love the triggers and the bumpers. Like everything's great. We're used to this feeling. Like redesigning it it feels next generation, but what are you gaining? But what I do love, my DualSense is out of reach. If I reached over, I'd fall over the table.
You good?
What I do like about the DualSense, for those in the chat who haven't messed with the PS5, which there are a lot of people who can't get a hold of a new console, around in this area here is a micro rumble that is much smaller and more dynamic than you get around in this area.
Yes,
if that's making sense.
Yeah,
so when you're playing a game on the PS5, you get this rumble across the top, like a flutter and tight vibration. Very cool. Xbox will probably just throw one more mode. Yeah, Addict's he's gonna fall off his chair.
He's gonna break up his sex.
I was looking for the DualSense control. I was like, well, I could show them, but my brother took it in his room, so I can't show you.
Shout out to Lord Zach.
So I think that's good. Cog, what would you add to the new controller?
I'm kind of with Addict. I mean, I'm not. Look, I recognize, you know, when I'm playing like an Astrobot.
You want that share button? That's what.
There you go. You already know where I'm going. You already know what I'm doing. So it's like, I personally am an elite controller guy. You know what I mean? So to me, that's perfection. I got my paddles, I got my stuff. And don't get me wrong, if they want to add it, because they did. Look at you, he's like Van away the controllers right now. You
like
right now. He's like doing it's like an infomercial in the back. I can't look at you, bro. You're making me laugh.
I have to like disable that channel because I got tired of waking up to it in the middle of the night. Then now I could just see Colteastwood like, do you want this controller?
With this controller, he's out there showcasing. But yeah, like, I mean, look, they clearly did a survey to see if the Xbox community wanted features like that. It remains to be seen if they do, make a new implementation. But if they do, my thing would, make that Elite Controller 3, because as Addict said, I want share button functionality in the middle. Ever since the new controller for the series, I am addicted to share button. I love sharing my screenshots, and that right there, exactly. So they can do whatever they want. Just let the Elite Controller 3 or whatever controller it has have that functionality, because I do miss that, man. My Elite Controller 2, I can't do it.
You know how many screenshots I put on Twitter. It took me so long to stop going Xbox X. Let's see. Hitting this and
that, and then
like I was so fast at it, or in Y to get a screenshot. I do so many recordings. So
I guess
Xbox button Y, and I had to train myself to stop using that and use the share button.
Man.
I guess the reason that doesn't matter to me is because I always have it hooked up to like my Elgato or something. So if I want something, I'm like, well, I just take it from my Elgato.
Yeah, you do it, you record, Joe. But it's like, for me, it's like, who doesn't? And I'm assuming like most people, who are non-streamers and non-content creators, it's a big thing, to be able to show. I just want a revamp of that and just have that functionality.
I think they need to revamp that.
Yes, the sharing system. Yeah,
in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's carried over from last gen. Yeah, that's a real bummer. I went to a capture card for a while, and now, that's a whole big. That's a thing that not a lot of people deal with. Since we're content creators, like, do we need a capture card? Maybe. Am I going to be unplugged from VRR so I can capture at higher quality? And after a while, I'm like, nope. And I just popped it right into the LG on the OLED, so I can have like the best of the best. I want that game experience first and foremost, and I can use different ways to tell you guys how amazing this console is. So the Xbox is amazing. We just came off V3. We've talked E3 to death, but there is one subject I want to talk to you about. I'll start with Lord Addict. There was quite a bit of CGI, but Xbox decided to go ahead and just show proof of concept. As my voice cracks from saying that.
You good, bro.
They want to show proof of concept. So we saw quite a few CGI trailers. Addict, I want to hear your opinion, spicy or not, about the CGI crutch for E3 2021.
Let's go, Lord CGI.
Well, there's normally I'm not a fan of CGI, and it's not necessarily against CGI, it's the amount of CGI. But we can't act like we don't live in COVID, and we can't act like that doesn't. I'd rather them do a CGI where they don't bother the studio, because I want people don't realize how much of a drought we're gonna have, and I'd rather them not continue that drought and make it longer. So if you need to go to a good middle ground and give me a CGI. This is the 1 year E3 that I will give you the pass. Like,
look at you! Wow, I thought you was gonna go in on this.
No, I am the standpoint. I will give you any CGI first one for free. Like, because you announce it, you show the game, that's fine. But I don't want to see the Outer Worlds 2 again unless it's CGI, unless it's gameplay. Okay. I don't want to see Fable again unless it's gameplay. I prefer the second time you show a game to just show to show the gameplay itself. You can skip this year, next year on Fable, on the Outer Worlds. That's fine. But the very first time you show me, it's cool. You show me this CGI. You show me a good concept of what I'm going to be playing, and then the next time you show it, then you show me the gameplay. And with Microsoft owning so many studios, and those studios have different teams, that's a possibility, because next year they don't have to show anything twice, because they're going to have probably a lot of gameplay to show us next year. So
I'm actually pretty shocked by this.
I can appreciate that. I line up with Attic a lot on that, but I wonder if Cog has a different opinion that will start an arm wrestling war.
No, I mean, I actually share this. I'm just surprised my brother has so relaxed and so chill about this, because this is the same man when we were doing when the live reaction went down with Starfield. I thought he was going to have a fit that it wasn't getting pro.
That's the second time we've seen Starfield.
Okay, so that's like because
Starfield,
it's the second time.
Starfield's one of the exception, because I felt like they were hyping Starfield up. Like, sure, we were to a point, but they had it on the promotion art every time they talked about it. They talked about Starfield. I felt like the amount of effort that was going into Starfield was not worth a 30-second clip, personally. Okay. I did personally feel like I would have personally liked to see a little bit more. I understand why they did it. It was mainly about, look, Starfield's exclusive. All these games are exclusive. You don't got to make another 20 articles. There's your answer. Leave us alone. Like, I think that's what that was about. Like,
Starfield was that was in-engine cinematics, like all created in engine. Cog, what do you think?
No, I'm with Addict on this. So, I'm always. I think me and Anaconda are the same for the most part. The only person probably disagrees is King. King hates CGI. He don't want to see CGI anywhere, right? With me, it's more of like, when it's your first announcement, I don't have a problem with it, because my thing is, it's like conceptual. This is the announcement of the game. This is something you're working on. We get a vague concept of an idea of the scope, right? And I'm fine. Now, again, I'm with Addict now. The second and third time, all right, I don't want to keep seeing CGI. Now I want to see, okay, now you got to show me some gameplay. As we get closer to release. But I'm from that school of thought when, the CGI was kind of the first thing you saw on a game title announcement. And I really don't have too much of a problem with it.
And plus, Cole, like, one of the things that, like, I know there's a difference between a CGI cutscene and an in-game engine, trailer. And that's cool, but let's be real here. We might know the difference when we see it pop up on the screen, but the majority of the audience, they're gonna just see them as the same thing. They didn't show me gameplay. Like, most people, and especially casual audience, they want to see traditional gameplay to like have that mental barrier that this is a different thing than the other one.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch gameplay, Addict, you can, if it's like a third person or first person behind the gun or the weapon, like, you can kind of, you've played so many games, you kind of get I do this in my mind, like, in my mind, I'm going like this with a controller, like, I know what that game's going to feel like. Do you do that too?
Yeah, and, what I like the most about, Starfield is, like, that's generally what the game's going to look like, and it looked great. So right now, the thing that needs to go down, it's like, look, this is how it's going to look. I, like myself, I would prefer something else than they showed, but what I really liked is, if you want to do stuff like that, do what the Outer Worlds 2 did, because it's phenomenal. Just like that was so funny. Like, I forgot, like, the whole time I'm listening to this, my whole thought process is like, I didn't even realize the game's not coming out for a while. Like, it's like they finessed me. They just like, we're gonna make you laugh so much, it's gonna be 30 minutes before you realize, this ain't out for a couple years. Like,
self-aware.
Very self-aware. Yeah.
Obsidian did the same thing with their Grounded trailer. Like, very funny. Whoever's in charge of that, it's hilarious.
Then people need a raise.
Yeah, marketing was on fire. Mikey Dowling, them guys. Shout out to Obsidian.
And you guys have talked to them.
Yeah, very blessed to have Obsidian in the realm on Iron Lord Podcast. I mean, I think Addict could say, like, I screamed the loudest at that trade. I was, because I knew they were cooking. They got Grounded, and to your point, Colt, like, I was one of those guys, I have to admit, hardcore gamer, who's this game for? And then look how I'm an idiot, right? And I'm getting proved wrong. Look, you're telling me about your kids. We see the success on PC. We see the success all over the place. So it just showed the diversity of the studio, right? We know Avowed is coming, but, like, Outer Worlds was my baby. Like, that was my, kind of like Bethesda style, Fallout style kind of a thing, but with a sci-fi feel and tremendous writing. So to see that announcement and how well it was done, I mean, they could have ended the show with that, and I would have been perfectly fine. It would have been still an amazing thing. But yeah, I am a huge fan of them. I think they are literally one of the most underrated studio acquisitions, that Microsoft's made, and this is the pre-Bethesda, and I'm excited for it. I think the future is bright. Look how many teams they got, how many games they got going on that studio, and the future's bright, man. Super excited for Obsidian.
I enjoy the possibilities more than anything, because now if Obsidian wanted to, they could make Las Vegas 2. Like, if Obsidian wanted
botting a bit, bro.
Am I botting?
Yeah, you botting a bit.
Just a little bit. It might clear up in a second.
Hopefully clean up.
Talk backwards and see if it makes it better.
I'm
Say something. I think you might be back. Let's hear.
Hello.
Yeah,
Do some T-Pain for us.
Yo, you stupid.
We'll give Addict a second. These things always clear out in like 1 minute, but let me read a chat.
Yeah.
I have to jump back. Ken McDowell wanted to share with us that he said, I've been playing the xCloud during the entire beta. I've been using it to play RPGs like ESO, and I tested it on Doom a few days ago. I was blown away that it's way better than it was before. So they've always been making changes. Carlos Alvarado says, D&D is fire, Colt. I've been enjoying that game thanks to Game Pass. So I had this as a later topic, but we're going to dive into this right now. And I'll go to Addict because maybe he'll probably be cleared up by then, I'm sure. But
he's still in the Matrix, I think.
Yeah.
He's stuck in the Matrix. Yeah.
There's a new I guess a narrative that Xbox has to be very careful about what they partner with studios that they don't own or they don't work with, but to bring a game day and date into Game Pass. So we'll use the example Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. Day and date in Game Pass. Doesn't cost you anything additional if you already pay for the service. So you save essentially $60. We can say that and take that to Superior Court and they'll let us go on it, right? So Lord Attic, this game came in at like a 60-something on Xbox, a low 70 on PlayStation. He jumped out.
Yeah,
so
he's probably going to rejoin the call.
He'll rejoin, so let me switch this. Boop, and we'll look real nice until he comes back in.
Nice.
I'll get a little... I run this show flying by the seat of my pants with AC.
You hosting, baby. You hosting, baby. This is the joy of hosting. Welcome to the stress of live hosting, baby. You're doing a good job, brother.
I'll do it with a smile because like Addict's amazing. He'll be back right in a second. He'll kick his router and everything will be good to go. There's nothing you can do when you're running a show, right? There's nothing you can do. So I'll start with you, Cog. He'll be right back. But so D&D comes in and gets low scores, and then you got like that. You got that certain subset of gamers who use it as an insult, like, oh, you got throwaway trash on the Xbox Game Pass. And so what's the deal here? Does Xbox have to be careful about cutting these deals and bringing games like Dark Tide, Warhammer in, day and date?
Right.
What's your opinion on that?
I don't really subscribe to that. I think the only issue I have sometimes, and I'm torn because I like the idea of game preview, but I do understand some people saying as far as like, beta testing a game and oh, well, look at the level of quality that's in there. I mean, I just don't think it adds up because we have so many examples of day and date quality first-party games, quality third-party games that enter the service. So if we want to nitpick every game that comes into the service, I think that's unfair. But, to the only point I've seen, shout out to, I think it was Paul Tassi and my boy Matty Plays may have something about
both of them.
Yeah, both of them has kind of on the subject. I do feel that, obviously, yes, you want quality control. You want the best games in the service, right? You want this to be a reflection that this is a valuable service. But with anything else, there's a diversity of titles. There's different factors in mind. So the only issue I have is if it's probably the game preview part launching in Game Pass, because then I could see somebody saying, okay, well, not necessarily at a finished product. Why is this kind of in there kind of thing? But other than that, I really don't have a problem with it, to be honest, Cole. I really don't. I think that it's overblown. I think that there's so many other examples we could use of titles that are really well done that launch in Game Pass, and I don't see that same energy. So it's just, narratives are going to be narratives. People who do not like the service are going to nitpick and cherry pick what game is not quality to then trash the service and say, okay, this is not something you should be invested in, kind of a deal. So that's just me.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, I'm sure Xbox looks at Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance and like 4-player online co-op, that's a perfect fit for Game Pass. And of course, I'm sure the studio pitches like, this game's going to be so fun. People will love it. You can choose your characters, build them up, level up, and Sarah Bond gets excited. And of course, they hope that the game lands and does well. But Mr. Matty Place said, did a video and a tweet saying they have to be careful that they don't get too many of these games that come in low because, it could make the service look less high quality. But OpenCritic says that Game Pass has the most high quality games than any other service. So they have to keep that that up there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And behind the scenes, what I'm hearing is that, you know, now because Game Pass is so attractive, you get all these eyes, this user base on your game, right? So obviously more developers want to be a part of it. I'm actually hearing the opposite, where, you know, I'm seeing developers coming like, yeah, we're hoping we could get into Game Pass. So the rules of engagement, the parameters of acceptance has changed, and it is game to game. So it's not like they're just opening the floodgates and there's no quality control. They're just letting anything in there. It is a situation where, you know, developers see the value of it and they want to get in it, but Microsoft is picking and choosing very specifically. And like you said, you made a great point, Cole, in the sense that, you know, not every game is going to hit. There's going to be some games that conceptually sound like it's going to be a great fit, but that's not Microsoft's fault if it's up to the studio to still execute and land as well. So it's a two-part thing.
I guess it would be, none of this really concerns us as consumers or gaming fans, but I guess the real tough part would be where Xbox pays a lot for a game like Dark Alliance, and then it comes out and it doesn't draw a lot of people to service because it isn't as good as they hoped. That, like, there's got to be wins and losses behind the scenes we don't even know about. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Carlos Alvarado saying that he's enjoying his Fire. Zocker87, good friend of mine who I've been on podcasts with, he loves the game. Isn't there always the game that the critics hate that you're like, I like that game?
Yeah, it's called Destiny. I'll play it.
Lucius Augustus says, salute to the lords. Woo. I just want motion like the Switch has. We'll get on the controller here for just a minute. Again, I want motion like the Switch has. Just being able to make small adjustments in first-person shooters is great on the Pro controller, like kind of like the 6-axis and the PlayStation DualSense also has like an aiming gyroscope, whatever you call that. Yeah. Wandering Dutch, who knows what he's talking about because he takes apart controllers and consoles and customizes them for people. And I think he makes some money doing that, probably, right?
Excellent.
He says, Colt, you're wrong. No, he says, I've taken apart a few DualSense now. Believe it or not, there's no micro rumble motor in the center. 2 in either grip. Oh, so 2. Normally, I think the Xbox has 1 in each motor, probably. I haven't looked at him in a while. He probably knows both. He'll correct me on that one again. But 2 motors. So what I must be feeling is your regular heavy motors down here, if you're watching on cam, and a smaller motor in here that kind of probably resonates across
the top. Yeah.
It's very cool. Like, if you play Astrobot and you're walking around and it's raining, you get this.
Yes.
Let me get on the mic. It sounds like rain, like hail pelting the control, like tiny baby hail, like the size of Astrobot.
Yes.
It's really cool. Xbox needs to implement it. I want to also welcome Michael Chiricello, new member. If you're a member, you get custom emojis. I think you start off with Marcus Phoenix, gray Marcus Phoenix, as a custom emoji that I drew, and you work your way up through Joanna Dark, Raz from Psychonauts 2. What else you have? Master Chief, and
what's the highest level?
Sebastian, the crab from Little Mermaid. No,
I'm like, it's not enticing, bro.
Okay, let me bring in L'Oreal. I didn't hear him pop in. Boop, there we go.
Internet.
Let's see. He's still coming back up, but I've got him added, so he should be in. Hopefully he knows and doesn't come in like with his shirt off or something crazy. Lord Axe amazing. He'll pop into the bottom. So
no doubt.
All right. So I forgot what we were talking about before. I think we were just talking about the CGI.
Yeah, and then the games as far as the Game Pass.
Oh yeah, the Game Pass. Yeah, we get on a tangent. It gets a little crazy when you get the Lords in here. You guys have to understand too that I get on Xbox chat with these guys late at night all the time, and we talk. It's like we're doing a show with no one watching. So it's so much fun. So it's a real treat to have them here. Let's talk about our new little. This will be a short segment discussion. On Twitter today, Master Chief was trending. Do you know why, Cog?
No, tell me what's going on. Put me on. Put me on.
I know something that you don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, but Master Chief was trending because there are rumors that he may be finally in the running to come to Smash Brothers. Do you play this game?
I do play a little Smash. I'm not like a hardcore Smash guy. I will say I'm back in, because I'm a Tekken guy and Kazuya just got announced. So when I saw that, I'm already in. So the rumors are implying that he is going to be in Smash? That's what we're hearing?
I think there's like a rally for like a couple different characters to be added, and Master Chief has been asked for so long. So it made it trending on Twitter faster than Game Pass did yesterday. Which
That's what I was about to say. It beat Game Pass. That's the one that really is going crazy right now. But I didn't know about the Master Chief thing. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so Master Chief, of course, Halo Infinite's going to be huge this year. I don't know if people are ready. Like, what's your plan for Halo Infinite? What are you doing as soon as that game is installed on your box?
Bro, I'm so hyped. I mean, I'm diving into that campaign first. You know, I got to see the story. I got to see what's going on with Weapon. I got to see what's going on with Cortana, the story, the whole thing. See what's going on with Dude.
What about Dude Guy or his King?
Yeah, Dude. Yeah, Dude, bro.
Dude Buddy.
yeah. King can't stand him. You know what I'm saying? Look, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but I will say I like the more updated trailer, because to me, Halo and Spartan 117, that relationship with Cortana and an AI is special to me. That to me is the essence of Halo. Combat Evolved. That's the stuff that I like. So when I saw that relationship and she's talking to him and she's like, "What do you mean? I was supposed to be deleted?" And you're starting to see the story unfold. That excites me. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, I gotta be real with you, Colt, man. Like, that multiplayer blew my mind. Like, all the feels came back. And, shout out to Patrick Wren. We just had 343 on Iron Lord's podcast yesterday. Tremendous interview, just talking about the multiplayer component and the work that they're putting in. And I told them straight up, man, I mean, they modernized Halo. All the things you could do, the repulsor shot and the grappling hook, the traversal. I mean, it looks so fun. These are the days, me, King, Soft, we used to just spend hours on Blood Gulch and all these. It just brought the feels back, and they look like they got it. So just the fact that it's both launching together, free to play multiplayer, like I'm pumped, man. Like I can't. I have to admit, I told people, even with Halo 5, when Halo drops, Halo is an event. Yeah. People forget it is an event, and it looks like they might be on to something, man. I'm just excited. I just need my release date. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. What about you, Cole? How excited are you?
I'm super excited. I waited on Halo 5 because I wasn't sure if I was done with Halo or not. So I think I waited like 3 months and picked it up. Campaign had some repetitive stuff I didn't like. I just want to go back to fighting the Covenant. I miss the brutes, so that's all back. I forgot what else I was gonna say. You got me all excited.
You good?
It's gonna be big because people aren't ready. Like, when Halo drops, it's a big deal. Even Halo 5, which people say is probably the lowest one in the series, which I think I rank it toward my lowest. But that Halo Warzone Firefight, playing online with people, that game is still hopping. I was playing Warzone Firefight last week before the AC broke, and that it's still so good. Yes. That's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, huge deal, bro.
Yeah. I don't remember what else I was going to say about that, but Halo's going to be a big deal. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. This is great. I'm getting so old. Like,
let's go. This is what happens.
You said something about I'm waiting on that release date, and I wanted to say immediately, hey, Phil Spencer is mulling around that release date. Did you hear how he approached that release date?
Yeah.
There's like a strategy behind the scenes.
Yes.
What's he waiting for? Tell the good people.
The vibe I'm getting is like they're kind of locked in. Again, we had Patrick on before I get into Phil. We had Patrick on, and I asked him because a lot of our chat wanted to like very specific feature questions, right? Is this going to be in? Is that going to be in? And then he couldn't answer everything. But then when I asked, I said, "Look, is it fluid still at this point of development as far as things getting added or not?" And he made a key statement. He's like, no, it's done. You know what I'm saying? It's just now bug fixing, quality of life. So that made me go, okay, you guys are ready to rock. So to me, it comes down to, we know Forza Horizon is November, right? You do have the release schedule of Halo, anniversary. We got a lot of things going on. But according to back to now Phil's comments, the vibe I got from it was that they already have a window of when this thing's gonna be ready. They just want to afford them a week or two, whatever it is, of a window of when they want to actually drop it. But I think it's strategic. I honestly, my guess is I think a little bit of chess is being played as far as other games and other release dates. and this is a big topic on Landlords Podcast as far as when COD is going to release. That's another one.
Yes.
You know, so you got November, and then also we have to be honest. We don't want to cannibalize, you know, Forza Horizon also, which is a huge title that normally doesn't drop in November. So I think there's a little bit of gamesmanship. That's just my guess on what's going on. But what do you guys think? Like, do you think it's already set in stone, hard and fast date? Like, what are you thinking?
We just brought in Addict, so I'll see if everything's working on his end. Addict, what do you think about the release date being in motion while they wait to see what release dates are?
I think that, can you guys hear me fine?
Still a little bit, but better than before.
But keep going.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I think it's fairly strategic. They got a good month that they want to do stuff, and they don't know when in that month they want to do it, so they're waiting for more information on stuff.
Yeah. So, like you said, Call of Duty, Cog, right? Yeah. And Addict's saying they're waiting for more information. Like, they're waiting for some of these big dogs to say November 7th or whatever day they do, so they can come up with you don't want to you've watched games get smashed when they line up next to like a Battlefield, like Titanfall 2 and Battlefield kind of got it was a real horrible situation.
Yeah, I agree. And Halo's too important, in my opinion. Halo is too important to have it be cannibalized. Look, we know, you know, obviously Addict knows the argument. Me and Addict are on the same side versus King and Saul, right? King and Saul are like, you drop it whenever, it doesn't matter, it's not going to cannibalize Forza. And for us, we're like, Halo is too important. Not that it can't survive, but you want the most eyes on it. You want the most, you know, attention and it away from everything else from a time slot standpoint, so they get its proper shine and proper due. So to me, there's no need to put it directly in competition with anything. Just let that thing breathe.
Yeah, I was pretty much saying, look, like Halo is way more important than Microsoft's ego to prove that Halo could drop anytime it wants to. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think November 15th is feasible unless, like, if Call of Duty's around there, like the 21st or something. I don't know. Being first, a few days first can help, but it puts them in a rough situation. Addict, I want to ask you about this next one since you were away for just a few minutes, but some nice little news came in, not related to consoles, but kind of helps with the whole console war nonsense. The sales chart on Steam goes as follows. I'll give the highlights. Number 1 selling on Steam this week is Sea of Thieves. Number 3 is Horizon Zero Dawn, a PlayStation exclusive that went to PC. I'll leave the editorials for Addict. Number 4 top sold is Forza Horizon 4. Number 5 top sold on Steam. Now, keep in mind, there's thousands of games on Steam. Number 5, Halo Master Chief Collection, which has been out several months. And number 9 is Forza Horizon 4 Ultimate Edition. And all those Xbox games are on Game Pass, and they're top selling on Steam. Lord Addict, tell us what in the heck is going on with this mess.
What's going on is that they know that they can offer the service on PC in terms of Game Pass. They know that a lot of Steam.
It's bad, bro. It's bad.
Yeah, it's bought. I'm barely getting what you're saying. I'll have Lord Addict, Lord Cognito. Can you translate what he says?
No, I mean, it'll be pretty much on it. I mean, you know, looking at that list, and a lot of people, fail to realize, the importance of like I said, we see the Game Pass, but I think the misconception about Game Pass sometimes is that it's not going to produce game sales. Like, people won't buy the game because it's in it, right? And we're starting to see, that is not the case. We started to see that with Outriders. We started to see that with MLB The Show, and you're starting to see that it does produce people to buy the title. And with PC, the Steam community, the PC community, in Steam, they're very synonymous. So to see these games that are in Game Pass, right, continue to still sell and be top sellers, and you look at that list, and then obviously you see, like you said, Horizon and the other PlayStation games that have now been on being moved over to PC also hit that list. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I think that companies are going to follow suit, whether it be Microsoft and Sony, and continue to do it. So But with Microsoft with Game Pass, it's actually pretty impressive to me that when these games are in Game Pass, they are still selling. Like, that is a huge deal. So very impressive to see that list and to see those Xbox games that are in Game Pass on that list.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all like pointed toward Xbox, but the number 3 on that is a PlayStation game. Like, doesn't that tell you, it paints a different story when you talk about a PlayStation doesn't need to put their games on PC. And maybe you could say they really don't. Right. And if they do put them on Steam, it's just extra money, right? Part of the problem is the Xbox One generation was really rough, and they didn't sell a lot of games compared to the competitor, and it just kind of alleviates the console war with providing more places to play. Tony Bryant in the chat says, I hate being late. Colt plus Cog and Addict, he's Miss Addict when he's jumped out for a minute, says a lawful good of the community. Gonna watch it from the beginning once the show live show is done. Yeah, we'll be on podcast platforms. Let me switch this. We'll get Addict back on here in a second here.
Yeah, you may be having some issues. Yeah.
You know, I'll take this minute because I know when you get on a show and you have little technical issues, it's gonna be a pain in the neck. But I actually have my my internet wired directly into my router right now because I also have problems this time of night. When you run a show in the evening, everyone gets home and starts getting on the internet and starts using up all the bandwidth. So I'm going to hire somebody to come out here and run a cable directly over.
There you go.
I've got a whole home network system. Nice. I didn't realize this till I started a show, but I've got Cat 5 wired in my house. I did it myself before the house was sheetrocked. And then now I realized that I'm using outdated cabling.
Cabling. Got to get that extra output.
I mean, we put this house in almost 10 years ago, so I could have put in some AOL wiring off of a CD, and I thought I would have been good to go. So, yeah, Lord Addict's awesome. He'll be back in here. So, yeah, games are selling like crazy on Steam, which is good. Yeah. It just shows that if you put your games everywhere, you're going to see some good success. Lord Addict, have you been seeing this? There's some more, or Lord Cognito. I'm sorry, Lord Cognito. I'm looking right at you. Cognito, have you been seeing? What's your name again?
Who are you? Which Lord are you?
Let me say real quick for the people who are watching the show. I'm here with Lord Cognito of Iron Lords. I'm Colteastwood. This is the Xbox Newscaster XNC Podcast. Lord Cognito and I had lunch together back in October of last year. We sat down, had a burger. I didn't share my onion rings. We had 2+ hours or something talking gaming, YouTube, just sharing trade secrets. How do you do this great? How do you do that horrible? And just had a good time. So it's good to meet people like this. So I'm glad to have him on the show. Lord Addict will be back in here in a moment. But if you don't already know the Iron Lords, which I'm sure you do, they run a show on Sunday mornings. If you're in the States or in the afternoon, depending on what your time zone is, they've been having industry professionals, incredible. They've been making moves. People love their stuff. We've got about 900 people watching live today, so appreciate everybody. Raymond Gutierrez in the chat says Colt's showing his age as I talk about old AOL CD-ROMs.
Oh, yeah. The 33.6 modems. You know what I'm saying? 14
yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
Mom, I'm on it.
Back in the day, I used Net Zero, and it popped up a big banner across the bottom of your monitor that you couldn't move out of the way, so you could have free internet. Yes. And then you're on 56K modem. But yeah, we've all been there. I think somebody has. At least if you're a baby, you've at least been there. But Cognito, I wanted to ask you: have you noticed on social media a lot of people are saying, "Hey, I got my Series X," posting pictures of it in the passenger seat with the seatbelt around. Are you seeing this?
Yeah, man. He's starting to see another batch. A couple of good friends of mine finally was able to snag some consoles. So that's good to see, man, because, I've never been a part of a generation where it's truly been this hard to find a console. Usually there's that first 3-month wave, you get in there, it's kind of difficult. But we're almost, we're getting past the year. And it's like we're getting to that year point and people still can't get the console, and the S included. So it's just like, wow, just see that the fact that this chip shortage or whatever is going on from a part standpoint and manufacturing standpoint, it's been so difficult. And let's be honest, Cole, the scalpers ain't making it easy. You know,
No.
it's been brutal. So, you know, you got legit people really trying to get their hands on a console and get a hold of this thing, and they can't. But it's really refreshing to see when people say, "Yo, I was able to get one." You start to see, you know, the seatbelt pigs. I even did it when I affectionately call the series that we call it Little Man. Shout out to King. I had Little Man in the seatbelt. You know what I mean? So that took a while for me to get one. You know what I mean? So again, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. I'm hoping now the tide turns where they're starting to slowly trickle out a little bit more frequently and be a little bit more readily available.
Yeah, I got my PS5 and my Series S because of you. You gave me the shout out and told me they were live. It went on my phone. I'm like, so yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get a lot of comments from people who say, when I'm talking about all this cool news, and they're like, that's great, but I still can't get a console.
I know.
So I feel for you guys. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. In fact, when the air conditioning repairman was here, he had a iPad where he showed me like this huge number I had to pay. He's like, sign here, sir. But he said parts and like he has ordered a new chipboard for he's ordering an Xbox Series X like chipboard for my AC unit. He said all this stuff is in high demand and everything's priced up. Everybody's feeling it. The consoles are we wanted them now, but now is the worst time for them to come in. But you know who also has seen a nice little surge of happiness is Japan. Cognito, have you been following Japan?
Yes.
What's going on over there?
Yeah, man, just to see marketing kind
I
of
didn't like Xbox.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? And to see the resurgence as far as the S. And one thing that was interesting to me was just that you know, a lot of the things that they're seeing are people who are getting into the ecosystem for the first time since the Xbox 360 era. So that was big. So Xbox is definitely clearly doing, you know, their due diligence over there and not giving up in the region. And, you know, one thing that me and Addict were talking about prior was I love the fact that, you know, obviously Game Pass is the driver. We know that, right? But one thing that I like is Phil's commitment to games of that region, the Japanese games that would not launch initially in the past on Xbox consoles first. You know, you're seeing Yakuza Like a Dragon, you're seeing the Dragon's Quest, you're seeing these games that, you know, historically would kind of come to, you know, Xbox not even at all or super late. So I think having those games in that ecosystem, in the Game Pass, and then you have this wonderful service, and then I think the secret weapon is Little Man. I think, you know, the Series S, and we talked about you know, the living conditions of how, you know, these other markets are. They're very compact. You know, they don't suit well with a big, bulky console, you know. So the S, now that I'm an S owner, I didn't realize how small this thing is, Cole. It is really small. It is like, it is so, yeah, bro. It's like,
I got it right here.
Bro, it is so small. And,
you know, you'll say that, you'll say it's so small, and then when somebody who actually holds one, they're gonna go, "Oh my gosh, it was smaller than you told me it was."
Same thing. I did not realize how small it was until I actually own it, and that's the first thing. So you got that, and then, you know, obviously we talked about xCloud and all these other things as drivers. It's cool to see Xbox not give up in the region, and to see, even if it's a little success or moderate success, them having success in the region. So I think that's huge for them to continue to have positive news.
Yeah, there's been some numbers. I don't know if you've seen some of the charts, like VG charts, and like there's a Japan market analyst chart that I don't know how accurate it is,
right? But
it shows that it's doing slightly better than the Xbox One, which doesn't make sense because the Xbox representative over in Japan says they're seeing phenomenal success, and we're seeing more things that show that the console's actually doing a lot better than anyone expected. The PlayStation's not doing very well over there in comparison, but I've seen some numbers where there's a big gap between the PlayStation and the Xbox. But it doesn't matter. Like, the Xbox brand, not just the console, is what's growing over there, which is a big get for a platform that has never had any market reach over there. So Underachiever, I got to take this one.
Go for it. Do your thing, bro.
Underachiever, Obi-Wan, FTW, and Lethal Papa, and Happy Bomb are a lot of my regular moderators. Thank you all for being here. The chat's super nice and great, so their job is easy sometimes, but they do great work. They make sure that no one's like putting anyone in any chokeholds and doing any virtual noogies. So yeah, they're amazing. Lord Attic messaged me behind seats. He was just experiencing a major outage, so he was just on the cusp of it. It finally hit and kicked him off. So we'll have Attic back on for sure. Of course, we'll have him back on. But I'm glad he got to be here for a little bit, and we'll get him back on. But let me hit a couple of these questions that came in. We got a couple with some great ones. Hargeet Chani says, Master Chief in Fortnite and possibly Smash would be good because it teaches these youngsters who Halo is.
Ooh, get that new generation.
Then Michael Churchello, I don't know if you saw this. This was a few minutes ago, but he put up a jumping up and down cheerleader sticker, a little animated sticker. I think he thought maybe it looked like me if I had pigtails. Wouldn't that be quite the sight to see? But, thanks for the super sticker. But yeah, hey, sometimes we got to cheer on Xbox. You know, we cheer on Xbox when we're enjoying the platform. We'll get into the Game Pass thing. That's part of that cheerleading thing. Cade Forever says, hey, what's up, Colton Cog? Or CC. CNC Music Factory. That's
CNC Music Factory, brother. Everybody. We a group. We a group now. It's there.
So yeah, if I sang that, I'd probably blow the speakers out of everyone's earbuds. So he says, do you think in the first party slate we'll make a Halo spinoff? I want to see one from the Arcane team. Cog, is that something you think it would be in the works?
Hey, I'm all about taking the franchise different directions and trying different things. And look, they've got the studios to have so much fun. This was so exciting. Like, I just think about that. I think about, Doom and Bethesda and some type of, crossover between them and Master Chief. The possibilities right now. That was the thing about the Bethesda acquisition that really, you start to dream. You start to have, it's almost like this all-star team of matchups and you can start mixing and matching. But yeah, man, I want to see that. On a side note, outside of Master Chief, we just I was bloviating about Obsidian, Bethesda, New Vegas, like there's so much potential, bro. Like it's exciting. It's like the greatest, free agent acquisition I look at with Bethesda, and the future's bright with all the possibilities if they choose to kind of play with the properties, right? It could be fun.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that if they do any spin-offs of some of these franchises, that they do them big.
Yes.
Like I don't want to see. I know there's people that probably like Spartan Assault, the Halo Spartan Assault, which is smaller. Like twin stick type shooter. Yeah, I mean, I want to see something big.
No, I'm with you.
Xbox needs those bigger games, and this goes into Dean Garner's question. It says, shout out to Colt and the awesome panel and great show. Do you think we'll get more third-person action adventure games revealed for Xbox soon? So, Cog, it's perfect. You're here. A few months ago, you had Compulsion. What are they saying? What are they teasing?
Yeah, that was huge. Shout out to Nalia, shout out to team. Compulsion is so underrated. People are really sleeping on them. And even Phil had made a reference saying, watch out for them. And when she was on the show, we got her to, say it was a third person action adventure game. And so for me, I get teased in the realm on ILP of #just1. So what I mean by this is that, now, don't come for me, chat. A lot of people, some people don't consider Hellblade 2 in that category, even though it looks amazing. It's third person over the shoulder. It's all those things that people want. But for me and a lot of people who are skeptical of Xbox Game Studios, they want a brand new IP. And all I'm saying is I just want, what I want, Cole? I just want that new hero, that new protagonist for the generation, right? Xbox OG. Ask your question, and I'll tell you what.
No. I'm just adding, like, do you think, is Compulsion, you're assuming it's a new IP?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely get the sense it's a new IP, third person, over the shoulder. Hopefully, she did say she actually confirmed that it was definitely third person, which was huge for me because the only reason why I'm such a stickler about it is that I feel Microsoft does so well with first person already. Yeah. Like they've got that locked. And Gears is Gears. Yeah, I just want that new IP, that new protagonist. Like the OG Xbox had Master Chief, 360 had Marcus Phoenix, and you know what I mean. I want that new generation moving forward. Who's the next hero that that we can put a face synonymous with the brand, with the series console. And that's all I want. And just a new IP that'll do that. And so I'm hoping, man, Compulsions look like they may be, and we know more games like this are going to be coming out. So the good thing about Xbox, last thing I'll say is just that it's a beautiful problem to have because they got so much diversity of game types, right? And I like to see all these different genre of games. And I know my hashtag just one's coming, so I'm patient.
It's just one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to see that character. Like, I want to see the character in motion, and I want those games where you climb around the world and explore, and mantle, and there's so much stuff in first person right now. When you look at all the studios, I always think about this heliocentric graphic I make that shows all the studios in a circle because there's 23 of them, and I think when you go around the horn, there are so many studios, they can't all be making first-person games, so I kind of just pick and guess, like, who's probably making third-person, who's probably making first-person. We'll probably play Starfield in first-person, so this is it's a good problem to have. There's tons of diversity. Let's see, what else do we have here? We got so much stuff.
So much.
Hey, I didn't say this yet, but Michael Chiricello says, hit the like button. I haven't asked anybody to hit the like button. I usually don't, but... yeah, when you hit the like button, it says, hey, I like the show. These guys are all right. They're not too crazy. Colt's AC is blowing the microphone up.
Hit the like button, man. Good content, positive content creator, man. Talking good discussions in here, man. Support.
So many times I watch a video on YouTube and I'm like, that was pretty good. And then I leave before I hit the like button. I should know better.
Absolutely.
People love it.
I'm bad at it too, brother. Yeah. I'm bad at it too. I got to improve on it too. Like, hit the like button. Show support to our content creators, man, out here. Like Colteastwood, the man, you know what I'm saying? What I call you, in a world. Like, that's how your videos sound to me. Your videos sound like that movie.
In a world.
Yeah, like that.
Like this, Xbox Game Pass, and Xbox.
Exactly. That's the quote, right? Yo, nobody does videos like you.
They even had someone count how many times I said Xbox in an Xbox game exclusive video. And the person was actually off by about 3. I actually had 3 more in there. I just went to my script and did a word count and had it for him right there. Hey, JD D-Dub says, the new xCloud is available via Safari browser, which he's meaning it's on iPhone and iOS iPad systems. He says, that surprised me. What a game changer. So happy I bought an iPad a week ago. Salute to XNC and the ILP. And he's got the fist. Or it goes this way, the fist. Yes. And then welcome to new channel member Snakewood. Snakewood starts off, I forgot, you start off with Joanna Dark. I took the Joanna Dark iconic picture and drew her up. So she's got the red hair. She'll probably have red hair. An initiative is done with the game. Can't wait to see that. Is that going to be a fire game?
I think so, man. Isn't it quadruple A initiative? Isn't this?
Every time we talk about the game, we're going to add one more A on the end.
We're going to add another A.
Quintuplet A. Quintuplet, is that like 8? Octo. I don't know. I don't know my geometry anymore. It's been too long. Hey, I'm done with college. I got my degree. Leave me alone. I don't want to do any homework anymore.
Good, right?
Neil B, good friend of the show. Neil B. He's always giving me good feedback. Neil B says, hey, Colt, Cog, and Addict. Addict's listening. We know he's out there. He's got his phone, and he's got it plugged into the wall so he can stay alive. We always got to stay on the internet these days. We can't be disconnected. But he says, hey, Colt, Cog, and Addict, great podcast. Which game have you enjoyed the most so far this year, Cog? Starting in January, so...
Man,
man, it's easy for me.
I'm gonna let you go first, but I got 2, but I'm trying to.
You got to stall. You got to stall for a minute.
I'm gonna stall. I'm gonna see if I can cheat and steal one of yours. What's yours?
I wish I could reach it, but I've got a helmet over there that says which game is my favorite. Actually, I have a production assistant who might be able to hand it to me.
Production
my
assistant.
Favorite game.
Yes. Let me see. Oh, of course, yeah. But see, you know what it was? Dude, that helmet is amazing. I should have got my collected. Dude,
I feel like such a dork for buying this, man.
Nah. That's fandom. That's pure game fandom. I love it. One of the GOAT trilogies of all time. Mass Effect, legendary. You know what? You're right, Cole, man. I ain't even gonna go against the grain, man. I'm still playing and having so much fun. And you know what it is, Cole? It holds up in this generation, right?
Yes.
Holds up, brother. It really does, man. And what they did was so ambitious. And I got to give it to you. I'm still playing it.
I got to ask, Cog. I got to ask, are you Paragon or are you Renegade?
I'm going Renegade this one, man. I'm going Renegade, brother. I like the color change. Yeah, Rand made me, he told me, he's like, go try Renegade. Because I want to do a new playthrough. My first time playing it back when the original trilogy launched, I was very Paragon, always doing the right thing. It's actually fun to be an idiot. And actually be aggressive and just, all about the mission. And it's a whole different game. It really opens it up, so salute to them. But yeah, Mass Effect, gotta throw that in it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite game I played. I've had some great experiences. I think I played, there's quite a few games that I started out that took me through from the launch of the Series X into the year. So like I was still playing Valhalla and still messing around with Dirt 5. I'm actually kind of forgetting what else we played this year because I've never had a lack of games to play, even with Xbox having a really non-existent launch window. But I always tell people, and I've been telling them lately, that the console is not only known for its launch, because if that was true, the PlayStation 4 had a lackluster launch compared to Xbox. And then Xbox went throughout the generation of the Xbox One and got surpassed completely in exclusives. So I think there's some good stuff coming.
No,
but
I agree.
I want to say about the helmet is,
let's go.
I've never bought is that a word? I've never bought a collector's edition. I've never bought a steel case. Like
really?
I've never been into that. But this is my first one, and I thought I love this so much I had to buy one. So
fire.
Shout out to
That's the one.
Shout out to Master Shepard. But
that's the one right there, man.
Master Shepard.
I love it.
So is Mass Effect your favorite one?
Yeah, I would say Mass Effect's up there. I want to give some honorable mentions, though. I know I am team turn-based, so I would be remiss if I don't mention these two titles. I know Gears Tactics was a huge one for me at the series launch. I love that game. I love what they did with that to unique genre. And like what Addict said, Yakuza Like a Dragon, man. That thing, bro. You know what? I think you'll like it, Cole. Because let's be real, like most turn-based games, the reason why a lot of people get disconnected from turn-based is usually it's like you see the characters very small, it's some overhead kind of thing. And this is not that. This is like very cinematic, very bombastic. It's over the top. The story, the narrative is fantastic. It is a great game. And they got some really like tearjerker moments in this game. Like the story's really well done. Really well done. I was very surprised, you know what I'm saying, at how well that game is. And I highly recommend people give it a shot. Again, if you and you know what I like about it? It holds your hand as you go through to help you understand, because the game is actually way more complex than you think, and a lot of other systems going on. But fun, hilarious, great game. Yeah, I would take Yakuza Like a Dragon. Highly recommend it.
It just seems like something I don't think I would get into, but I started Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is high quality. Because it looks really good on the Series X. I'm like, but it's not a game that I would normally play. But you guys have a lot of recommendations.
The reason why I say it's complete departure from the other Yakuzas as far as the way it's played. You know what I'm saying? And I think for a person who's new to the series, you can jump in right at that point and still be filled in, and it's a little bit easier learning curve, in my opinion. But I think you should give it a shot, man.
Yeah. Hey, I guess I will. You'll have to put the pressure on me, but
let's go.
In the chat, a couple people said something about RDX, and I didn't get a chance to really talk about this.
Okay.
I've been on RDX for a long time, but about the time I told Dealer I'd be done at E3, but E3's been so crazy I haven't had a chance to like really thank everybody.
Yeah.
I've done it lots of times, but it's never enough, right?
Let's do it.
So I've been on RDX for 4 years. Every Tuesday I missed a few shows here and there. And Dealer is amazing. He's changed my life, and I've done that show. I sat here and guested on his show for 4 years, and I've been telling him for a while, hey, I got to say hi to Erica for the win.
Erica for the win.
In the chat. So many other people. Fuzzy Belvedere, other Zinc. So many people to say hi to. I'll say hi as we get along. But yeah, I told Dealer that I've been doing the show for so long, I just need a break. And sometimes it's a lot of work. And then as I started to do my show, I'm like, this is way more work than being on a show, of course. But yeah, Dealer and I talk just about every day. I told him I want him to reach out or have me on again. But just being on there as a permanent panel member after a while, it was a lot of fun work. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I did that for a long time. They're amazing. And I also knew long ago that Dealer's so outstanding. He's got so much chemistry with everybody he brings on that if I stepped out, like the days when I couldn't make it, the show just cranked no matter what. Like, he's just such a great host. Dealer's amazing. Some people said in the chat, they'll miss me on RDX. I'll be on occasionally. Those guys are amazing. They're all good friends. They've had the Lords on. The Lords have been on there at least once or twice. So, yeah, they're outstanding. But trying to say goodbye during E3, we're so busy with big celebration for Xbox. Absolutely. I got a couple other super chats. We'll get into the next topic.
Go for it.
I always have a hard time saying these names. Are you perfect with this? Yeah. Faisal Sean says, catching up on the pod now. Keep up the great work, Lord Cog, Colt, and Addict. Love the Iron Lords and what they bring to the table. Absolutely. Everybody loves what you guys are bringing to the table. People are always talking about how much they're enjoying the show. Chris R. says, in your opinion, is Halo's Battle Pass a sign that Microsoft is calming down on the microtransactions? Game Pass revenue might replace microtransactions.
Interesting.
I'm kind of half and half on where he's leading. Cog, what's Battle Pass signifying?
Yeah, again, we had Patrick on yesterday from 343, and I thought one of the coolest things that he mentioned about the Battle Pass was the fact that, most battle passes kind of are implemented and they create this FOMO, right? So it's like, if you don't play now, you don't buy it now, you don't get the samurai armor, you're done, right? So it kind of like forces you to get into this mode. And what I like is that you can go away and say, let's say they're up to season 3 of the battle pass or whatever, right? And you looking at all your friends like, damn, they got the cool ninja armor, they got the cool set. I can't get that. But now with the way they're doing it, you can literally play and buy that one and you don't miss out. You can choose which track. So to me, it seems cosmetic. I mean, a lot of that stuff is going to be a driver in some of these games. I can see that. I'm not going to act like it's not going to exist at all, but it's a revenue source. We have to admit, it's up to the gamer to make a choice or the stance as whether or not you feel something is aggressive. But as far as Halo Infinite, love the way they are handling their battle pass.
So it's all cosmetic, like to make your character look cooler and stand out in the crowd?
That's what I'm hearing. That's it. Suits, armors, fances.
No egregious, like, hey, that guy, spawns in with 2 rocket launchers on each shoulder.
I just bought aim assist. Ain't none of that.
Yeah, I do love that. 343 is like, they're listening to the community there, and they know what's working and what's not. Like Gears 5 came out and they weren't doing it right. They sounded like they had everything set up, and then when the game came out, there's some microtransaction stuff that kind of put people off. So hopefully that when they come out, everything's going to be good to go. Yeah. Well, I've got a couple more here, but let me get one. Still Wreaking Havoc said, I love how he said Rican, like Puerto Rican. That's cool. Still Wreaking Havoc. I want one of those studios to make Ryse 2. Oh, like that. I could open up a can of worms. So there are rumors about Crytek, but do you think there's any truth to that, Cog?
I hope so. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still in my feelings we didn't get the Ryse FPS boost just yet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so I'm like, that's the game I want to play. So I would have, listen, man, I tell people all the time, the greatest 900p game I have ever seen is Ryse Son of Rome. I thought it was an amazing launch title. I mean, Crytek, they were just geniuses as far as think about this, Cole. They were able to crank all of that out during an Xbox One that was still utilizing 15% of the resources towards Connect, and they were able to
trash.
Trash. That's a deal. Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were able to do that, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, they, in my opinion, they are wizards to be able to eat that level of performance out of the console. So to me, whether it be a Crytek acquisition, which I'd be all about, because I'm just about that. Get the engine, whatever they're doing, get that Cry engine. Fidelity looks amazing. Or at the very least, if there's somehow either Microsoft could fund the IP, you know what I mean, or help.
Oh yeah.
Bring it back. It is. Listen, it's a hardcore Xbox fans' dream. If you speak to a hardcore Xbox guy, they always have a fondness for Ryse, because you know that the game was perfect, but you saw the potential of what this thing could be if you stand by it. And I think that's what Sony does a lot of times, that you want Xbox to do?
Always.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes you don't hit the home run out of the park with the initial new IP, right? So if you
like Uncharted 1 was really great, and then 2 was like out the park.
There you go. MLB The Show out the park. So it's like, boom, like we got to do it, man. We got to give these franchises a chance to breathe because we could see how great it could be. And I think Ryse is one of those. I would love for it to come back. So whatever the rumor is, whether it be, we're gonna have to hit Grub up because Grub's in the mix. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna hit Grub.
You gotta go like this when you say Grub.
You know what I'm saying? We gotta hit Grub and say, what's going on, man? Because like I said, either get Crytek if you can, or somehow fund that IP. People want Ryse too badly.
Yeah, I also got to say some of these studio acquisitions that we've been hearing about. I think there's a lot of good, usable merit in them. But I also think that some of this stuff comes where there's smoke, there's fire, and we've been seeing it a lot with Xbox Games Studios acquisitions. So.
Special Nick is in there. He said it's his rumor. Special Nick is in there. Shout out to Xbox already too.
Thank you. I want to say shout out to Special Nick. We got Violent Femme in the chat. We've got Paris was in here earlier.
Yes.
Pong Soul.
Pong.
If I scroll, Erica for the wins here. The Game Filter. A lot of there's so many of you. Jesse B. Just so many people that are here all the time. Thank you so much for the support. I hope you're enjoying the show as we get into some of the other topics. But
get it.
Yeah, I was going to say about Ryse before we'll move on from Ryse, but I talked to Jason Ronald about the FPS boost. I said, what's the priority? Like, how do you pick what's going to be boosted? And he said they go off of popularity. So what I should have asked him specifically if they go off of like which ones were popular, like how many people played them in the sales. Because maybe Ryse is not as high on the list. Like it may be asked for a lot by the hardcore fan base, but it didn't sell as many as Far Cry 5. So I guess Xbox is listening. We have over 900 people, almost 950 people in the chat. Send a tweet and at Jason Ronald. It's no big deal. He can ignore it, or he can just make a note somewhere else. Say, hey, I'd love to see this game get boosted. And if they hear enough of it, it will get put on a post-it note. I'm very sure, because we know how those guys work over there.
No, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And, you got to think about all those factors, sales, popularity, technical issues. There could be a bunch of factors as to why, something may not get selected initially. But, yeah, I agree. Do it constructively. Don't meanly tweet at Jason Ronald. You know what I'm saying? Be respectful. Be nice. Cole says, be nice. You know what I'm saying? And do it that way. And, yeah, hopefully, like I said, we can get these titles that we feel just need to be added to that service. It's a fantastic feature, sir.
Yeah, I think, that constructive thing is so important, isn't it? Because I know the way that I approach game developers, because you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. These people are doing their best. They want to create something that people love, and then the people that they work for want them to create something that makes them money. So that something's got to meet in the middle. So send out those requests. Xbox is listening.
Absolutely.
Let's see. I want to talk about, as we talk about, we're going to see a Ryse 2. Phil Spencer was on a podcast called Dropped Frames Podcast, and he was asked point blank about Killer Instinct. Did you get a little beat on this little news item?
Caught a little bit.
The great Phil Spencer?
Yeah, caught a little bit of it. So it looks like the vibe I got was that, he's looking for a team to do it. So to me, when I hear that, again, I'm just speculating, no inside information here, but, I almost feel like for whatever reason, with the past team, they're moving in a different direction, right? So to me, this is one of those weak spots for Xbox, as far as the fighting game genre, that's something that is really near and dear to me. I'm not going to say like I'm the biggest Killer Instinct guy, but I recognize the importance of the title. I recognize how many people truly love that. They need to get a hold of that because that is a beloved franchise. They need to get someone assigned to it. Now, obviously, we heard rumors and rumblings. We've heard certain possible potential acquisitions as WB appears to be possibly, selling assets off or whatever it is they're doing. Look, I'll put it out in the air, man. I'll take it. Hey, NetherRealm. Hey, if anyone needs to be acquired, if anybody needs to be acquired, hey, man, listen, if they're in the business of selling off, that would be a great studio to assign to a beloved franchise. You know, they've been known. Listen, I gotta speak it into existence. I don't know if any of this is gonna happen, but I would love them to find, even if it's not my pie in the sky, but I don't know, right?
I would just love for them to instead of doing a Killer Instinct game, just say make your next game would be Mortal Kombat V Killer Instinct, and then you just kind of appease, like, here's a new Mortal Kombat game mixed with Killer Instinct, and it's on every platform except for PlayStation because it'd be funded by Xbox. So it would be on mobile, PC, Xbox consoles, xCloud gaming. Yeah, that'd be. Well, you don't need to worry about it, right? That'd be good. I think I interrupted you.
No, you're good, bro. That would break the internet. That would break the internet. I could imagine like Ed Boon making like a cryptic tweet, and then you see like one of the KI characters, you know, and bro, they like, it reminded me. Didn't they did it with MK in DC at one point, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that would be a dream scenario, bro. You gotta be hyped. That I would love that. Phil, get on the phone. Let me say. If it was that easy, but all jokes aside, like, yeah, man, I just want that. Listen, I want the series to continue. You know, it has a tremendous lineage, tremendous history. The fans want it. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, they can find a studio, whoever it may be, to really keep this thing going and assign them that project. That is a beloved franchise.
Yeah. There's another beloved franchise that Phil was asked about, and I had Major Nelson and Jeff Rubenstein, the leads of Xbox Communications. Mm-hmm. So these are the two gentlemen that are making sure the message of Xbox is getting out there and that it's crafted in a certain way, and they're just kind of doing all that stuff behind the scenes. And I asked them point blank, Cog. I said, have you guys got eyes? Have you been able to look at how Fable is doing? And boy, did they make some dance moves around that question. You know, Larry Herb put on like the top hat and the cane, and he started doing the tap dancing.
You try to box him in, man. You try to box him in.
Yeah. Oh, he wasn't having it. Well, they kind of knew what I was going to ask beforehand, so he's like, "Let me take this one, so we don't get in any trouble." And then he just kind of broke it over his knee. But Major he's awesome.
Shout out to the Major.
He's been doing the Xbox thing for so long.
Shout out to Rubes.
Shout out to Rubes. Rubes is amazing. So I don't know if you guys haven't seen a lot of what Jeff Rubenstein does. He does a show with Major Nelson. Check out my last podcast. It's on the channel. There's links somewhere. But anyway, I asked him about Fable, and I didn't get anywhere with them. Major Nelson basically said, we don't like to spoil ourselves, so we want to wait until the game is ready to be seen, and then we'll pick and choose what we want to watch. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with, all you had to say is, you know, we've been stuck at home during the pandemic, and we haven't had a chance to fly out to the UK, so I haven't seen it. But somewhere, some site would write some crazy article on that about how Fable's being delayed because Microsoft couldn't make it out there to check on, you know, something crazy. But they did ask Phil about Fable, and Phil was he actually gave him an answer. Do you remember what he said?
No, I didn't catch that part. Tell me.
So he said that he told fans to be fully confident, and I'm paraphrasing from my memory, fully confident in what Fable will be, knowing what we've seen that Playground studio do with Forza Horizon 5. What a great answer.
Oh, bro. You know what?
Do you think he's on the money?
Oh, listen, Phil stole my answer. Because that's what I said watching the conference. Because let me be real with you. Like, you know, I wish Addict was here for this one because this is his beloved franchise. This boy loves Fable more than anybody I know, right? So it's one of those things that when obviously it's your franchise, it's with a new owner, a new studio, right? You know, and then let's be honest, right? Playground, as great as they are, they're known for Forza Horizon, right? They're known for this car game. So there's always that question, right? Can they do it? Is this the right choice? But I'm gonna tell you this. After seeing that Forza Horizon 5, like, I really had to put respect on Playground's name, Cole. I had to, like, it was so mind-blowing. You know when it blew my mind? When there's that mountain ravine, right? And you see the water. And I'm sitting there to myself, Cole, and I'm like, wow, that's an amazing video of Mexico. I'm like, yo, wow.
Everybody said that.
I'm like, this is great. And then it zoomed in, and then you saw the cars on the. I was like, oh, Playground is just stunting right now as far as their team with graphical fidelity, as far as everything they're doing. And if they're creating worlds that look like that and with the photorealism, I have full confidence in what they're about to do with Fable. Like, I literally said that. I said, Addict, you don't have nothing to worry about after I see this from Playground. Salute the Playground. They've moved up. Yeah, they've moved up my hierarchy as far as I like to play this game. You know, it's like sports, right? So it's like, who's the best? Who's the number one pick out of all the Xbox game studios? Which one's the top? Like, Playground let me know there's levels and they're up there. They're in the top bracket, man. Absolutely. Salute to them. Full confidence.
You must run your own show or something, because you just segued perfectly into the next topic. So you know what you're doing. So let's talk about. I think you already gave your answer, but it could be a little fluid here. Woo. Cog, we've got. I wish I could pull up that graphic on screen, but we've got 23 studios for Xbox. No one can really come to an agreement on which studio will be the Xbox studio.
This is tough.
This is tough. And it doesn't take away from the other studios.
No, this is just fun.
I'm really happy with the whole scope. Like, they've even got some smaller studios. Maybe I'll never play like something from Roundhouse or some of the mobile. There's a couple mobile studios that come from ZeniMax, but everybody's going to make something that's going to hit. So, which studio is it? Playground, Cog, for you that is like the studio?
Listen. This is tough. You making me making me pick amongst your kids, right? You got to pick your children, your favorite child. You got to tell other child you. So someone gonna get upset. But look, it's greatest Playground is, and Playground is up there.
He's already backpedaling.
I'm back. I gotta dance out. I gotta do the major nail. I gotta dance. So my thing is, Playground's up there. You got the new kids on the block with Bethesda, which is ZeniMax, so to speak. Like. But I still gotta keep it Obsidian, bro. You know why? Because when they got on, think about this. When they got on, they had Outer Worlds, right? We've seen Outer Worlds 2. They made Grounded, which I laughed at them. I was wrong about that. Like, why are they doing that? No one, and then proved me wrong. Look at what they do with this side project. Then they have another game going out. Right, I forgot the gentleman's name who's working on another project that they're doing. I forgot. Help me. You may know the guy's name. I forget. And then they got Avowed, right? So I'm just looking at, in the short term, these franchises that they kind of control already, and the quality that they're producing. I just think they are very diverse. And anybody who picks Playground, anybody who picks Bethesda, you can't go wrong. I'm not gonna, Coalition. We got to put respect on Coalition's name too. They were holding the flag for the Xbox One generation and the Gears franchise and things. And I can't wait to see what they do with Unreal
They've never
Engine.
Failed either. Yeah. Like, all of their stuff's hit really high. Yeah,
they can't do that. 343's on the comeback trail. I'm calling them the comeback kids. Hopefully they get this thing and Halo Infinite launch fine. But I'm gonna go with Obsidian. I'm gonna go because I think their pedigree, their RPG history, and they're showing me that whatever they do, damn, I gotta put Ninja Theory in the mix too. They're up there too. It's so many, bro. Like it's tough. But I'm gonna go Obsidian. I'm gun to my head. That's the child. That's the kid I'm running with. What about you? What you?
I'm looking at the chat while you're talking. Like, this chat's amazing. Yeah. Obsidian is probably the one I'm seeing the most in the chat. Or my biased eyes zooming in on the Obsidian. I think they are okay.
Well, you go. Pick your kid.
Why are you making me choose now?
Is
this
your
my
favorite
fault? Did
child.
I do this? So
let's go.
Tell one child to go in the other room and get something for you, while you tell this one that you're the best. Then come back and say, "Thank you for that. You're the best child."
You bring. I still love you, but you got to pick.
And then I go over to the dog and go, "You're my favorite child." No. So
let's go.
Obsidian. I'm such a huge fan of Forza Horizon. I've got probably 1,000 hours in the series, and I'm not big into Fable like a lot of people are. And I saw someone in the chat. I forgot. I forgot your name when you said it, but you said it though. That you're not a Fable fan. I get you. I'm not either. But I also feel like, from what I know from Playground, is I'm probably going to become a bigger Fable fan than I would have been. So yeah, I would put it between Bethesda Studios, who make Fallout and Elder Scrolls and Starfield. And if they get a Fallout 5 in there with Elder Scrolls and Starfield this generation, that's going to be pretty hard to
That's going to be hard to beat. And if Starfield hits, they're back on top with the most dominant. Let's be real. If Starfield hits, all this is over.
I think Starfield's going to hit because it's not a Fallout 76. That's an outlier. Like that's an outlier. But oh my gosh, just thinking about it, like Ninja Theory might probably only put out Senua Saga this generation, and they'll have something in the works for next generation.
They got the Project Mara though. It look kind of good. I don't know how far away.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a game it is, right? So if they come out with something like Enslaved Odyssey of the West, I close my eyes so I get that. Like that's an amazing game. So I think it comes between Bethesda Studios and Obsidian, because I think Outer Worlds is kind of like quirky, colorful, fun RPG. Yes. And then I know Avowed will be like the Skyrim type.
The Skyrim, yeah. I forgot even talking about Outer Worlds. Yeah,
that's amazing. It's just totally amazing. So I think we got some good stuff coming. RDX Son of a Fet says Game Pass browsers out for everyone. Watch the trailer. Yeah, I didn't know about that. I'll have to check it out. G3 Jigsaw 13 LV says we need a realistic, rated M, third-person campaign only, straight savage pirate game. And it better be AAA too. I was playing Sea of Thieves Tall Tales with Chris Grinnell, who used to work with PlayStation, and Darsh Knight, like two British guys, and me, the darn American, right?
Yep, the Yankee.
We were playing today, and I about lost my voice because I kid you not, for an hour and a half. Horror! I think I got the ladder to come down. Follow me up to the aft cabin.
Yeah, was it
like the whole time.
Yeah, was it Pirates on the whole time?
Whole time. So we are ridiculous, but we had some good laughs. The game's really great, but yeah, we've got Skull and Bones coming from Ubisoft, just being delayed. That would be what he wants. I think that's a first-person only game. I'm not sure. Gerald Max says, shout out to XNC. Salute, Lord Cognito. And Ross Irving says, what do you think of the new Xbox monitors? Ooh, that's a weird thing that I haven't really gotten into. What do you know anything about these monitors?
Yeah, so it looks like they're coming out with this, like, what is it? Designed by Xbox kind of sticker monitor with a couple of hardware manufacturers. I believe Asus, Philips, Acer. You know, so the way I look at, I didn't see it, sir. No gold star. No. Yeah, you're good. But basically, what I'm seeing is just like, you know, kind of like a feature-rich, you know, maximized for the series consoles kind of a line, right? So this way,
and for PC though,
yeah,
like either or.
Yep, and the vibe I'm getting is, you know, VRR, HDMI 2.1, you know, HDR, that kind of bit. So the way I look at it, this is more of casual brand marketing, because let's be honest, we're the hardcore cult. Like you know, me and you, we're talking about our LG CX or, you know, whatever C1, whatever it is. You know, we're trying to get the best fidelity, but the casual guy or girl doesn't necessarily know when they go to the store, like, I want to get a new monitor. I want to get something that's going to take advantage of these series consoles. So now that Xbox is kind of partnering with these manufacturers, I think it's a great casual tool, so that they see that designed by Xbox or 4 series, that they know, okay, they're going to get the maximum fidelity out of it.
Yeah, how much are they though? I think about, we spent a lot of money on an OLED.
They're not cheap.
Because I think somebody in the chat said, Last Emperor said 55-inch monitors. I don't know if he was wishing or if that's what one of the offerings. Are they big, like a TV?
I saw one was like in that size. The other one seemed more like monitor, kind of like you know, PC kind of stuff. Okay. So yeah, I've seen like a variation, but most of them I've seen were more on the monitor side. But they are partnering with TV. We know they got the like I said, the Samsung deal. They have a couple of deals in place with hardware manufacturers. This is something they're being aggressive with. And my guess, if again I'm speculating, no inside information, my guess is that this is also going to, you know, I can't guess with that. My guess is that they are most likely also going to start leveraging that, in my opinion, would be smart, with like the Xbox Game Pass app. If they eventually really want to push streaming to where they want to go, how better than to work with these manufacturers to get your app on these you know, smart TVs and stuff like that. So I think that's another thing you might want to see.
Yeah, I wondered if that was part of that will come straight up with Xbox Game Pass, or what would they call it? The Xbox Game Streaming app or something like that. Like, would that come to an LG TV? If I'm being selfish, Is that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's coming to pretty new TVs.
Yeah, I mean they have. I think they even have a partner. They kind of talk like it's synonymous with the. They recommend like the CX as something to use with the Series X console. So I would not be surprised if a lot of these business decisions behind the scenes just start working as far as leveraging the app of console streaming and Game Pass.
It just changes the way we play. And, I usually just play one way with the console or PC. I have a big LG OLED, and I use it as my monitor when I'm working on graphics or building a video. Like, I'm in front of this thing. It's right here.
Amazing. It's amazing.
It's right here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gaming Addict chimed in and said, sorry, chat, I don't know why they're having issues right now.
Yeah.
Maybe there's probably like some burly dude out there with an axe that chopped down a power pole or something, like trying to stop the Xbox goodness.
Trying to shut us down. Yo, shout out to Attic. I know he really wanted to be. He's having an issue. It's a legit issue.
Yeah, of course, and he'll be back. Like I said, Ace Out Gamer says, Colt, Cognito, how we do?
Yo,
what up?
What's going on? What's going on? Chilling.
Back to the studios. Mo B says, I think the Coalition has more potential than anyone. It feels like the Coalition is kind of able to kind of stretch their legs a little bit.
Yes.
Did you play the Hivebusters DLC?
Oh, bro, amazing. I'm mad. Bro, I'm mad that wasn't at launch. That's how amazing that was. Because I think if that would have been at launch, it would have really, let's be honest, a lot of people were like, oh, I want to see the power of the, you're going to see Coalition flex. And again, they don't get enough credit for carrying the torch, what I consider the dark ages before the studio. Like, they held it down. Like, I have full confidence in them. I can't wait to see. And I tell people all the time, I know people don't like that. I know Colt doesn't like tactics. But I will say, as far as graphical fidelity, if you look
it's amazing looking.
Bro, their in-game cinemas, in my opinion, blow Gears 5 away. Like, it is a beautiful looking game. So yeah, Coalition, they don't get enough credit, man. They're wizards. I want to see what they do with that Unreal Engine 5 while they take a break. I think they said they're going to do another IP, kind of like to test out with the engine, and then the next Gears come out, and those boys will be cooking. That studio will be cooking, man.
Yeah, when you were talking about Coalition, like they don't get the credit they deserve. Digital Foundry has said that they are up there in the echelons of some of the best, like Naughty Dog for visuals. Gears 5 looks amazing, and Gears Hivebusters gives you that. It's kind of weird to say, but it gives you that PlayStation first party type feel, like this beautiful jungle and these vistas and wide panoramas. And it was only 3 hours, but it was the whole DLC played like a Universal Studios ride. Like, it was just this big moments from moment to moment and carried you through to a big boss battle.
Yeah,
amazing studios. Coalition deserves it.
Especially what you said. When I knew they hit it out the park. Just when you start and you see that jungle, just to see Gears in that type of environment, I was like, yes, no more dark grays, and like I want these beautiful, lush environments. And man, that game truly, truly amazing, and people need to play that DLC. It is. You want to see what Series X could do, just a little scratch the surface of it. Again, old Unreal Engine. These are not even utilizing the latest tech yet, so the sky's the limit.
Oh, and that game's not held back because it runs on an Xbox One. It looks phenomenal on a Series X. So
you still in trouble. I see what you're doing.
Don't get it twisted. I was, when you were talking about Forza Horizon 5, about how it looked real, you saw this vegetation, and all of a sudden a car comes in, and you're like, that's a game? Like, that game is made to run on an Xbox One. Like a OG VCR.
Yeah.
Turn on your Kinect, sir.
It's true, right? It goes to show you. I think we had this discussion too in LP. I think, look, I think there's I'm going to be careful what I say. There's game design FOMO. And what I mean by it is that, with the way game development has always been traditionally, right? You want your stuff on the new console, and then you can push the levels, so to speak, of fidelity. But what has happened is, certain people have built themselves mentally like, oh, you can only see the future with that way, and that's fine. I understand there's going to be certain limitations as far as game design, but when you're seeing these titles, right, when you're seeing what we just talked about, a Forza Horizon 5 looking the way it does, right, if you just take a screenshot, you don't tell anybody that that's going to be on an old console, you can fool people, right? And that's what I think with the whole dynamic, with the whole Sony situation, with the whole, we believe in generations and this whole thing. I think that's what's happened. People have gotten too caught up into this game design FOMO and just appreciate how beautiful Horizon Forbidden West looks, how beautiful Forza Horizon, you know what I'm saying, which are cross-generational games, and appreciate what game design is currently doing right now. We do know that, yes, if something is built strictly for the hardware, you're going to eke some more performance. I'm not saying that's not the case, but what we're seeing with game development is truly amazing with these quote-unquote held back cross-generational titles that, oh my God, I can't believe, I don't want my system to do this. Come on. Like, you can't sit there and say that those two games don't look phenomenal to you. And that's all.
Yeah. I just keep telling people, like, we talk about how they look, but those games are going to be amazing. Like, and they already make amazing games. Yeah. And that's really what's most important. Ratchet & Clank has that wow factor with the rifts, right? That's something that can only be done on current console. Mm-hmm. But it's the combat and the different cool weapons, the way you traverse around, and you can scoot around on these like super jet rollerblades. Like, that's really fun, and that's something that could be done on the PS4. The rifts are the thing that can't be done, but you just want the games to be good. Yeah. And I think you're kind of in a fallacy because we're in the launch window anyway. So that stuff usually is kind of an outlying thing. But
good point.
Let's talk about this big thing because Game Pass has become so big. Let's get a little controversial here.
Here we go.
I'll just come right out and say it. And I've been in the console war way too long, and I'm getting tired of it, right? And I try to stay away from it. Like, once in a while, I'll make a joke with my buddies like Tim or Dealer. I'll go reply to them with something that's a little sketchy as far as little console warrior, right?
At least you admit it. I'll give you credit. I'll leave you credit.
I will admit it.
Boy,
right?
we drank. We had a drink about this conversation in first. I'm glad you admit it. Salute to you. Being transparent.
Yes, and but as far as me making all out posts or videos, like, I've kind of gone away from that.
Yeah,
I just realized over the years that people enjoy what they love more than the drama. But there is this thing going on where so many people are talking about Game Pass because it is such a game changer, and it's changed the way and how many people come to the platform, that the PlayStation guys, more than anybody, are not, I say more than the Nintendo or PC fans, right? Are not liking all this Game Pass talk. So, Cog, tell people what happened, I think starting Saturday morning.
Yeah.
What happened with Game Pass on social media where everybody was talking gaming?
Correct me if I'm wrong, because I caught on to this through Destin Legary. So I don't know if he's the OG. Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm correct.
I think he is.
I think he's the OG. So we got to give credit.
Tell the tale. Tell the tale.
Yeah, there you go. So just salute to Destin. But I saw what I thought was the most hilarious tweet he ever put out. And it was kind of like, these damn, Xbox shills, whatever. Xbox is paying people, but for $3 a month, and he goes into the whole spiel, and I'm like, yo, this is the most genius tweet, right? For people who to show sarcasm for people who hate Game Pass, to act like Xbox is actually not paying them or paying them. It was just so well constructed and such good sarcasm that I retweeted it and I put like a skull emoji. I was like, "Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. This is the funniest. This is the funniest joint. I'm dead." Right? So I left it alone, and then like a day, I'm seeing this thing just catch fire. Then I'm like, "Wait a minute. Why is Game Pass trending on Twitter? Like, what is going on?" And then I'm looking at it. Everybody has their own spinoff of it, and I'm seeing like big content creators doing the same thing, and it's absolutely
like Skill Up.
Skill Up did it. My boy Rick Kakis did it. He's a huge Jessica. Like, I'm seeing everyone's running with it. And this is what's funny about it. Because if you're a gamer and you have a service like Game Pass, right? And it's clearly, definitively one of the best values in gaming, right? Mm-hmm. If you're angry at that, something is wrong with you. If you are upset that there is a deal right out that gets you games in this service and these great products and first party, third party, all this stuff, and you are angry that this deal exists, that is a problem with you. So all this shows to me when I see such a negative, it doesn't even negative. I think people are just having fun with fanboys right now. People are playing on these fanboy feelings. And I think what's happening is, you know what the problem is? I got to be brutally honest. There's a subset of gamers that we got to be honest that just doesn't want Xbox to succeed with this strategy, right? That's the sad reality, right? Because if you're a gamer, you like, yo, this is a great deal. I can get into the Xbox ecosystem. I'm going to pick me up an Xbox and I'm in. But if you are emotionally bothered by people celebrating Game Pass, bro, you got some issues that you need to work out, because as a gamer, you can't think that way. And I think that's the irony of it. And the fact that it's catching fire, which is making these subset of people even more irate. It's the funniest troll ever. And to see Xbox benefit off it, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's the ultimate backfire. I gotta say something, because there's so many layers to this.
So many.
So here's the thing. The initial complaint started when people were saying, I'll just say it, okay? PlayStation fans, like the diehards, were saying, y'all out here bragging about Game Pass like you're getting paid to do it. Like, why are you talking about it if you're not getting paid to do it? Which is funny, because those same people talk about the bangers on PlayStation nonstop, and I've never once said, are you getting paid by PlayStation to talk about those games? I'll tell you the reason why a PlayStation diehard talks about bangers like Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, a lot of those games that I loved. There's a reason why they talk about them all the time. It's because they love them and they get enjoyment from them. So when you see all these gamers talking about how much they love Game Pass, here's the problem. Obviously, they're talking about Game Pass because they love the service, and they're getting enjoyment out of it, and it's changed the way they play their games. The problem with that is these diehard PlayStation guys can't emotionally take that Xbox gamers actually like this trash service full of Game Pass fodder, where they say 99% of the games are trash, low-rated, last-generation games, which is absolutely totally incorrect. I think well over 60% of the games are like in the 80s and 90s, and the rest of the majority are high-rated and not low-rated games, and a lot of them are really new games. So it's just funny to see them get. It really shines a light, Cognito, about how these guys really, truly can't accept that Xbox has done something that is not only done well, but has taken over the games industry by storm, where media sites like Paul Tassi, who have changed his tune because, not because he wanted to flip-flop, but because he has seen the good in what Xbox is doing. And he wants people to know that they've taken a good turn, because he's been very hard on them for good reason. So PlayStation diehards can't stand it that Xbox Game Pass is so huge. So you said Destin put up this tweet. That tweet did. I would love to see his impressions numbers. How many people have swung by and saw the tweet? Skill Up did one. Alana Pierce did one. You named a couple other people. So early in the morning, I tweeted at Tim Dog. I've got like 32,000 followers. Tim Dog has close to 40,000. I said, hey, Tim, let's get hashtag Xbox Game Pass trending. I kid you not. Within an hour, this amazing community had this sucker at trending. I hit a message to Aaron Greenberg. I said, Greeny, this sucker's trending. He wrote me back. He goes, this community is outstanding. And he put up a tweet. Phil Spencer put out a tweet at the end of the day. We love the community. Yeah, he put out one.
I missed that.
It went trending at my time around 8 in the morning. By about 8 in the evening, 12 hours later, Phil Spencer puts out a tweet, says, this community is amazing. We're so happy that this is trending. It makes us work harder to create a better service for you guys. So, just freaking trending on Twitter. Yeah.
Bro, I got to jump in too, because this is the ultimate backfire for, again, that small subset again. You know what I realized about this too? And I told people with the start of this generation, right? I told I said every generation is a clean slate.
Yep.
Now, granted, you can come in with your past accolades and your past history and your track record, right? And that's going to give you an adoption rate and a following of loyalty in the beginning. But you still have to produce. It's like sports, right? You won the championship last year. This is a new season, right? So all I'm saying is, as far as the Xbox is concerned, like, they are all in and they're committed, and this is going to be a fight this generation. And that's what people have to, they just haven't wrapped their head around it. I guess some people still want Xbox to be a punching bag. They still want Xbox to be the butt of jokes. And that's not the case. So that it's infuriating. And the last point I want to say is that, you know what you realize with all of this? The vocal minority that are so against, that doesn't represent the real world of gamers. The real world of gamers actually say, you know what? For this price, I can get all these games. I can do all of
Now
this.
you're doing it.
You know what I'm saying? See? There go my tweet. So it's like, at the end of the day, that's what common sense and people who are impartial look at a deal like that and invest and say, yo, it's a no-brainer. And the other last point I say, which I find is absolutely hilarious, is like, I don't know if this is sustainable. Why are you pocket watching a corporation? Let them go out of business. Take care of the deal, right? If they're giving Lamborghinis away for a certain amount of price at a dealership, guess what? I'm going to go get one and worry about the consequences of the Lamborghini Corporation afterwards. So that's the thing. People are not being gamers first. They're being corporate and trying to shill or whatever it is for their company of choice instead of looking at it objectively. And I think it's the ultimate backfire. It's the ultimate, pie in the face to that group who were dying for this to fail. And now it's turned out to be their worst nightmare almost. I think it's absolutely hilarious. I think it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, the gaming filter says the first rule of Game Pass is to talk about Game Pass. And then he's got the eyes with the lips in the middle like Luca does. Like Luca. So, yeah, that's great. Eric the Red 06 says, if Game Pass wasn't an Xbox service, PlayStation fanboys would be more than happy to subscribe. But because it's Xbox, they want to pretend it's crap. Preach. I mean, I agree. But keep in mind, if you're just joining the show, this is Xbox Newscast Podcast. I'm here with Lord Cognito of Iron Lords. And, yeah, we're some of this is jokes, right? Yeah. But we're talking about a small subset.
It's small,
3%.
Yep.
If you're on social media, 3% of the crazies that like to argue and grief people, they're very, very loud. But the best part about this, which is what you were just saying at the tail end here, Cognito, is that they didn't want us to talk. They wanted us to stop talking about Game Pass, and they actually came in and magnified it and made it worse, and it became a trendy topic. I got to give a shout out to Special Nick in the chat. Woo. He hails back to our talk about Hive Busters. He says Hive Busters should be sold as a standalone title. So it's a 3-hour game, really, no matter how you slice it. There isn't any side content or any explorable area. It's pretty much a corridor. It takes you down to three main areas, and kind of brings you back to the beginning for the end. Special Nick, what would they charge for that? I feel like $20 is really rough for a high quality 3-hour experience, but I feel like since you can get Gears 5 in Game Pass, if anybody was really wanted to get Hive Busters, they could jump into Game Pass, but they still paid $20 either way, I think, for the expansion. So
I think it free with Ultimate, right? It was free. I thought it was free with Ultimate.
I think it was free with the Ultimate Edition. But,
I mean,
it is that good. Yeah.
All I want to Nick's point, all I want them to do, and I feel it was criminal that I felt they didn't market it enough. It is so good.
You mean they didn't put it on they didn't advertise it on YouTube like really early and look desperate?
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, Cole. Okay, stay away from that one. I know what you're doing.
My hand. Yeah.
But all I would say is, yes, they needed to figure out a way to market this game a little bit more, because it's a shame. I don't know if the statistics are out. I know sometimes, you pop the achievements and you see the percentage of people who actually, popped as far as completion or whatever. And I'm hoping from the time I played it since then, it's actually increased, because it's a fantastic DLC.
Yeah, it's super good. So I don't know. Nick's adamant they should do that. I think that he's probably got an idea of what that would bring people to the platform, but Yeah, I mean, it's such a great Gears is such a great game. You talked about tactics earlier, and I need to go back and finish it, but it does some things that I want Gears 6 to do. Like I want the custom armor piece by piece. I want that to have perks. Like I want to put a custom chest plate that gives you larger magazines or widens the area of your active reload if you have that gear equipped. You know, stuff like that.
Yes.
I think that's what's missing from the game. So also they had that sled in Gears 5 that had no gun.
Yeah.
So come on, give me something like that.
I agree.
JD Gamer says Game Pass gives me a buffet of games. It saves me money and lets me play more games, which is also backed up by actual hard facts. Keyword is games. Someone tell me how that isn't great. So I got to say, when Destin put out that tweet where he said people are accusing others of being paid to promote Game Pass, but did you know that for $9.99, right? One of the hot replies under that tweet was, Destin's out here talking about Game Pass. He's not actually talking about actual games. Oh, man, did I put on like the Ivan Drago boxing glove and I came after that guy. I said, do you realize that Game Pass is 100% games? There is nothing in that service other than games. And if he's talking about Game Pass, he is talking about games.
Look, man, Cole, I'll leave it to you, bro. You know what it is? I look at that kind of stuff on my timeline, and I just laugh because I'm like, yo, people are really this emotional about this. Like there's a certain subset that means they're typing and they're seeing red. They're furious that this thing is successful and how it's life ain't that bro. Life ain't that serious.
Hey, but you know we're in a time when even the games media is wrinkling their forehead, lifting an eyebrow about which I can't do. Maybe you can do. I can't do the one eyebrow. I bet you can. I'll look on cam.
Maybe a little bit.
You probably got it for me. But you got these $70 games in a time when people lost their jobs in a global pandemic. Phil said this a year ago. He said people can't work. They're trying to work from home. They can't get their kids. There's just this hardship.
That's real life. That's real life, Cole.
I mean, like I told you at the beginning of the show, that AC guy's like, man, I don't have good news for you. Like all the costs of stuff are way up because of what's been going on. And Phil knew coming into this thing over a year ago that they would have Xbox All Access, they'd have Game Pass, they'd have ways for you to play your games and not be stuck in one model where Sony said, hey, $70 is the new price. Right. And people come after me like, Colt says $70 games are bad, but he bought Ratchet & Clank day one. I will buy whatever I want if I want to buy it.
That's what a gamer does.
And I don't have any other choice with Ratchet & Clank. I'll tell you what, PlayStation adopting a day-and-date business model, they would get tens of millions of subscribers to their service in half the time Xbox did. All they'd have to do is say, hey, you know how Deathloop's coming out? That's going to be day-and-date in PlayStation Now. They would get so much money. But I think they're afraid to do that jump right now with their PlayStation fan base. I think that's eventually coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? Interesting discussion, just to see if they would ever adopt that strategy. I mean, in their defense, their model has proven successful for them, and I think they kind of do. I always feel Sony does like a dip their toe in slowly with certain things. You see in the PC adoption coming a little bit after. They'll adapt, but it'll just be at a pace that they're comfortable with, and they may not have to, but we know for sure right now Xbox is leading the charge on this, and they are getting the benefits of it. They're getting the benefits of being aggressive, being first in this type of a space, and it's doing well for them.
So it's not trending anymore, but it's been a big deal. We've got a bunch of games coming to Game Pass, right? This year we've got Back 4 Blood, which isn't even an Xbox game. That's $60 on the competition. You can get it for pretty much free. It's crazy to think about 2 full price games covers you for the entire year. So I think that backfired on them pretty hard.
Yeah, it did. Because
you're still seeing people complain about it, aren't you?
You can't. But you know what's funny? You nailed it, Colt, because you said pandemic. People losing their jobs. That's the real world. the 10 people on Twitter that's cycling up the same nonsense about why this is bad for gaming, the rest of the world is sitting there saying, yo, I could actually play these games. And another great point you made is, again, when we talk about the $70 proposition, right? You know, when you look at MLB The Show, when you look at Outriders, you look at all these games that are third party, so to speak, day and date. Let's be honest. Like, even if you have no allegiance and you walk into GameStop or whatever, and they tell you you're gonna pay $70 for this, or I pay $10 for this, and I get all of these, what is common sense telling you you're going to do? That's just what's gonna win over. And I think the sad reality for that loud vocal minority is what's happening with Game Pass trending on Twitter. That's the reality they have to brace themselves for, because that's what the common folk and the gamer is going to do. And that's just how the market works. It's a great deal. You're going to take advantage of it. That's it.
Let me ask you something, Cog. You're a Gen X guy like me, right?
Yes,
Grew up in the 80s and 90s, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, listen to Jodeci, right?
Yes,
back
sir.
in the day.
Woo!
Yeah, so
come and talk to me. Let's go. You know this song.
I'm a Diary of a Madman fan more than the first album, but yeah. You know, we come from a time, and I know there's a lot of people in the chat that come from a time when if you wanted a movie, you went out and bought a VHS or a DVD and you stacked them in your shelf. When you went to get music, I used to buy a CD. We'll keep it in the recent era. Yeah, I'd buy a CD, take it home, pop it open and unfold it. I loved it. But now all my music is on Spotify, or it was on Google Play. Like, all my stuff's streamed, right? Anything we ever watch on TV is on a service that I pay for every month. And if you really think that a game service isn't going to be the way to go, it's Ash says, I was more of a Boys to Men guy.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I love it. They're gonna get me all choked up over here.
Yo, they go old school 8-track. Yo, they go BBD. Yo, the chat is lit right now. I'm loving the chat. They taking it live wire references. Oh man,
yeah.
I'm loving
just as long as nobody says anything about Silk, I think we'll be okay. But Casey and JoJo, my man, yeah, Silk. No, but I'm such a diehard fan of that music, man. But we've talked about that before. But yeah, the way it's funny because we're a little bit older. We've taken our entertainment different ways, and now you're probably like me where you buy all your games digital, right?
Yeah,
Raise your hand if that's true, right?
Bro,
you buy most of them digital.
I'm team lazy. I'm not getting up to put a disc in nothing. I'm old. I'm not putting no disc in nothing. I'm selecting my icon. I got my little apps all with my little icons in the order in which I want to play them. Come on, bro. We ain't got time for all this getting up and this stuff. Nah, man. I'm with you.
Dude, I gotta stop you there because Predator H2O says color me bad.
Yo!
Dude, you gotta. We gotta put him in a timeout with that one. My wife and I went and saw them 2 years ago. They opened for Vanilla Ice at the local casino, and yeah, that was crazy. There's only two of them. Like the other three, were gone.
The outside, little overweight doing the moves.
Yeah. He's a bigger guy, but still had the vocals, man. That's where it matters, right? So wearing the the leather jacket.
The leather jacket, the suit. Let's go.
Actually, Vanilla Ice was really good, but we won't get into that. But yeah, I mean, if you think that Game Pass isn't going to be I think it's going to be a big way to play games for a lot of people. Phil said our last reported numbers are 18. I think he kind of did one of these, tongue-in-cheek things, because now the media is reporting that Game Pass is at 23 million, and they were supposed to be on track to hit 30 million by holiday. I didn't think they were going to do it, but it sounds like they're going to hit 30 million. Cog?
Yeah. Bro, let me tell you, what's the crazy thing about all of this is that I remember a time when, 2017 or whatever, we were like, yo, is Microsoft and they're committed to Xbox? Are they committed? And to me, which was the biggest indicator, is right before E3, we saw the Satya, little press conference, that forward-facing thing that they did to show how committed they are. Like, now, Microsoft and Xbox are seeming to be synonymous. You're starting to now see Windows 11 pushed out. Like, Xbox is no longer the little, stepchild that we're just going to throw money on. Right. Yeah. Now, and again, credit to Phil, getting it to the table, whether it be and the entire team, whoever it is that constructed the Game Pass model, right? Credit to them, because they have now convinced the big brass, the CEO, that this is what we need to be invested in, committed in. And it's tremendous. If you're a gamer, that's all you want. You want to see that level of commitment. And all it's going to do is produce the studio acquisitions, produce the games that you want. And then we get to benefit out of a service that, let's be real, is truly transformative. So it's amazing to see. Back to your point with the Game Pass numbers or whatever, that's the metric they care about. And as long as that continues to increase and go on, they're going to be fine. And I think this is the new Microsoft, with gaming now as a centerpiece, as a focus. And it's positive, man. It's one of those things where it's truly like, yo, sky's the limit, future looks bright, you're excited. If you like the ecosystem, it's really cool to see.
I hear you, Cog. I really do. But the chat's still talking about 90s hip hop.
Let's go. What we doing? Voices the Cat Band, KRS-One. Okay. What else we got?
I was a fan of Shy too. I like Shy a lot. Like I don't know if people liked him as much as my friends and I did, but they were great too. They were another great. Somebody said, "Don't be hating on." Ash said, "Don't be hating on Freak Me, Baby" by Silk.
Let's go. I see
Such a good song.
They going in, man. We about to get the '80s, the big bands. Oh, let's go.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. We got KTX Games says people need to understand that competition is good for everyone. If Xbox and Nintendo went away. Oh, I agree with the rest of he's going to say. He says here PS5 would be $800 and the games would be $100. Laugh out loud. He's probably right. Hargeet Chani says chance that Sony will put their upcoming multiplayer game into PC Game Pass to gain mindshare. What's their upcoming multiplayer games?
I know they're doing one with Firewalk Studio, like an exclusive kind of a multiplayer. I don't know if it's that's he referenced it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to see more PC stuff. What's the next one that's coming? Uncharted 4 is the next hot rumor that will probably end up being true. Oh yeah, possibly. Mackay28 says, quote, "Come join Sony Play Pass and play our first-party games unlimited for $14.99 a month. Also on PC. Sony fanboys, brilliant."
Are you implying there's a double standard?
Yeah. I think he might be. Yeah. JD Gamer says PlayStation reminds me of Blockbuster. They were doing just fine renting DVDs. Why change? What is this Netflix thing? Seems to be a fab. We all know how that worked out for them. Adapt or die. Hashtag capitalism. Yeah. gets a little political there. But I remember 2011. I bought a summer Game Pass rental service from Blockbuster. I'm like wrapping my mind around this. And I would go in and rent a game for a 360 and bring it home, play it. I rented Red Dead Redemption 1 in 2011, I think it was, and Just Cause 2. And I was like, oh my gosh, these games are great. I got to go buy them. And I remember then they said, I thought you guys were going out of business, because I think it was around that time they said, DirecTV or Dish Network, one of those, they came in and they like bought a huge share and saved us, and I think they only lasted about 6 months. But you do have to adapt or die, and PlayStation is doing the adapting. We just haven't seen the move yet. It takes a lot of work to get there. Yeah. But let's. I agree. I got a couple more because we got Gaming Forte jumped in the house. Woo! We got my man Gaming Forte, another good friend that you'll catch me on Xbox talking to him super late. Gaming Forte and I were playing Mass Effect 3 multiplayer on the 360 back and pat at like 240p. We had a great time. He says, "What? The Lord of intros in the house. Great to see one of the hardest working people in the industry. Also, great show, Colt. Love the energy." Game Forte's a man. And Sala Sama says, "I wonder why they haven't put Great Dead or Alive 3 and Dead or Alive 4 on back and pat." Yeah,
that's a good question.
Are those 360 games? I've never played them, but
no, those are good, man. Those are classic, big time classics.
So if you're here, this is the XNC Podcast, also known as the Xbox Newscast Podcast, and I've been here with Lord Cognito of Iron Lords. Great friend. He's a great guest, great host, great gamer. He's jack of all trades. He could do it all. And we had Lord Attic here earlier, and his internet a plane flew down and chopped down the main line, and there was a big explosion. He went out there with like a gigantic fire extinguisher and held it like a Gatling gun. He's like, I'm gonna take yours.
The backstory you giving for this is fire. I'm loving this. This is season 1 of Addict.
Gaming Addict's amazing. So yeah, he's amazing. He will be back on the show. That's a one-time fluke, but he's amazing. And thank you so much for watching the show. If you were here and you're still listening, or you're watching, if you're listening, you're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Podcasts. So the show is on demand. If you want to check out the show after the fact, just here on YouTube on the Colt Eastwood channel. Timestamps go up about a half an hour, an hour after the show ends, when I have time to go through and scrub through. I like to have those timestamps so people can skip to the parts they want to hear. But I would really recommend listening to the whole thing. Lord Cognito said some crazy, inappropriate, and controversial things that you don't. I'm just kidding. He would never do that. But no, there's some great stuff to listen to. We like to keep the channel clean and fun. We've had a great time. We did the show about, I think we went about 2 hours, way over. But Lord Cognito, thank you so much. Tell the 5 people who haven't heard of you who you are and where to find you.
Before I do that, man, again, Colt, salute to you, championing your endeavor. I love what you're doing out here. Love the production value is always A+, and to see your growth in your journey hosting is really inspiring to see. Obviously I remember seeing one of your videos. I'm like, I didn't know videos could be made like this. I was just like, this is another level. So proud of you. I love seeing this, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Eric, beautiful chat, the XNC, beautiful community. And like I said, friend, we met each other in real life, going to E3 together, and it's really cool. And hopefully when the world gets back to normal, it'll be more of that. But as far as me, y'all already know, it's Lord Cognito on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Iron Lord Podcast on YouTube. Please check it out. Every Sunday is the Lord's Day, 1 p.m. Eastern. Check us out, man. We just had a great interview with 343, Patrick Wren, the whole team, talking about multiplayer. So if you want to check that out. And again, the last thing I say, lordsofgaming.net. If you can support that, that's our site. It's for the gamers, by the gamers. We have a tremendous team all over the world, man. Croatia, Poland, the States. Yeah. We've got some fantastic writers. Salute to the entire editorial team. And really appreciate when you guys retweet, and because those guys work hard. They make me look good. They give me opportunities right now. So salute to them. And like I said, and of course, last I got to plug. If you're into Destiny, got this little podcast with my brother Bontis, man. It's called The Last Word. And if you want to know what's going on with looter shooters in general, check that out. It's only every Friday, and it'll go up on Iron Lord's podcast as well. And we have a great time there. But again, Colt, thank you for the invite. This was a lot of fun. Me and you we could have did an 80s, 90s podcast with all the bands we was talking about, us Gen Xers, So
yep.
Salute, man. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, brother. I had a great time.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the chat's been amazing. Well over almost 1,000 people watching. People returning to the chat that I see every week. Thank you so much. And those of you who message me on behind the scenes, thank you for the support and the compliments and the feedback and the, hey, Colt, fix this. You look crazy. I absolutely love it. Like, the community's amazing. The games for Xbox are pouring out. Like, they're going to start here in the next couple weeks, and we'll be so busy. I just really appreciate everybody for checking out the show. This is episode number 8. So yeah, just around 2 months I've been doing this show. So thank you to everybody for supporting it. It'll be up on the show when it's all done. Sean LeBrie just jumped in, another moderator and good friend, real life friend. He says, hey, Colt, fix this. I don't know. Fix what?
Yeah, I think I think you shout out to Sean LeBrie, one of the best artists in the game, man. Boy.
Oh, he's been making memes and doing, like, throwing out little console war grenades here and there.
He's showing me messy sometimes. We seeing him. That's the homie, though.
The best thing about Sean is, he's buddies with Paris Lily. So like when Sean will kind of throw the smoke out there in the field, Paris will go, come on now. Just knock it off. But yeah, we're having a good time. And, everybody we talk to is amazing. People are really supportive. And this community just loves gaming more than anybody. So thank you so much. Cog, wave to the audience. I love being on camera, having a show where you're on camera. It's really great to just connect with all these people that I talk to every day in the comment section. So thank you for checking out the XNC. Well, it's been a long show. Go be safe. Stay cool out there if you're in the heat wave like me. Send good vibes. And of course, be nice.
Be nice.